Y'all's the hate on all of my moves, but now niggas on it. Y'all used to bait me on me and my views, but now niggas on it. I used to tell them I'ma have me a show, but now niggas on it. Her homies on it. Your homies on it. Y'all's the hate on all of my moves, but now niggas on it. Y'all used to debate me on me and my views, but now niggas on it. I used to tell them I had me a show, but now niggas on it. Her homies on it. Your homies on it. Realest Podcast.
TRP Nation, what's good? It's your boy Chad. I'm out here on location once again in this super beautiful spa space that we've used for a couple of interviews over the last couple of weeks. When it will be opened, we don't know. But until then, we'll be using it as a studio and possibly a little bit after, man. But I'm here today with a very familiar face, somebody that is joining us on the program today for the third time in 2024. He's always smart, informed, polarizing, and extremely insightful about whatever the topic at hand may be. Following his last appearances, we racked up over 1 million views on Meta platforms and TikTok, and had our content repurposed by The Source, David Banner, and reposted by several other large content creators. He's an author, entrepreneur, father, content creator, and my brother, Dave Anderson, aka The Business Bully, is back on TRP.
Thank you so much for having me again, my guy.
No, I love you, my brother.
Love
Appreciate
you more,
having
brother.
you here, man.
Yes, sir.
Since the last time you came on the show back in the spring, a lot of things we talked about in that appearance have, grown some legs. Some have even landed people in jail. Puffy is now formally indicted and arrested. New York City Mayor Eric Adams has been indicted also, both by the Southern District in New York. Biden dropped out of the election. Trump survived 2 assassination attempts, and the Secret Service just thwarted a third one yesterday in Coachella Valley. Obama just excoriated black men for being sexist. And we are just 21 days away from the 2024 presidential election. Where would you like to start this conversation today?
Brother, wherever you want to start, I will leave it to you. I am ready. But before we get into your first question, where's this one? Hi, I told you so. I know y'all hate that, but I told you so. Didn't I tell y'all about Diddy? Didn't I tell you about Cloud? Okay, never mind. We gonna get there. We got time.
I think probably the best place to start is probably going to be with the most current thing that just took place. That's literally got the internet on fire. Literally tens of thousands of response videos from the everyday man and the everyday woman around the country to Barry O and his nonsense in Pittsburgh, and that's I'm gonna call it nonsense. And just looking at it as objectively as humanly possible, I think that he's lost his luster, and he doesn't really wield the power or the control that he once did.
Right.
And, what do you think about the comments that he made, the angle that he took, and the scolding tone towards black men and their, what he called lack of involvement in this electoral process? So
the thing with Obama that you got to understand is, again, I feel like I'm quoting Kamala right now. I've been in these streets, Chad, and the one thing, as they say, they not like us. Obama is pushed out to give a certain level of cred. They break out the Obama whenever they need to, get black people together. But the difference is this isn't 2008, bro.
At all.
So we now know that this man does not have a shared black experience. Right? His mother is from Kansas, his father's from Kenya, which, as Tariq Nasheed will classify him, he's a tether.
Right.
So how are you going to tell us anything? You don't even come from a black mama. You know nothing about our struggle. But now you're going to put the fact that you're comparing your 2008 numbers of black men voting for Democrats with what's being polled for Kamala, as if polls haven't been wrong before. But not only that, there has been a dramatic increase from every presidential election since 2008 in black male voter participation on the side of the Democratic Party.
Absolutely. The last 30 years has been trending downward.
It's been trending down.
Peaked with Obama, trending downward since.
Exactly, because we start to realize, hey, we keep doing this and you're not giving us anything. See, the difference between us and other folks, we're not Charlie Brown. You're not going to keep holding the football and expecting us to kick it, and then you yank it out from under us, and then we looking up at the sky, and we're like, good grief. We're not doing it no more. We don't care who you get to hold the football. So that's point number one. Point number two, he took a tone that he thought was going to just get people together because he does not have a foundational black American cultural frame of reference. He thought that was cool. The only man who could ever talk to me like that is in an urn in my house. That's my father, God rest his soul. Maybe my big brother, but you? You who have done nothing but give us rhetoric, you who have done nothing but take care of absolutely everybody and say, well, it's not how America works if we're talking about specific groups. But didn't you give rights to the LGBTQIA plus? I don't know all the letters. I'm trying to make sure I get that right.
You got it.
Didn't he make sure that illegals or people who were here undocumented, because, you know, we got all these terms now that are fancy.
Yeah.
Didn't he make sure that they had a path to citizenship and they became dreamers, right? Didn't he do things specifically for other people? Didn't he don't ask, don't tell repeal? Like, he did tangible things for everybody else.
Yeah.
Didn't he put in more protections for police? Yeah. So what happened to us? You want us? Y'all should have known the jig was up the second he came on the Ellen DeGeneres show and couldn't dance. What black man you know can't dance? So the other part of that is, he knows that the majority of the black electorate won't shin check him, because the problem is there used to be a whole bunch of soft shoe tap dancing. Don't get me wrong, there's still a bunch of soft shoe tap dancing coons, KEWNS, kooky emotional weak Negroes. And what's happened with the kooky emotional weak Negroes is that they're running around here saying stuff like, well, we need to protect the sister. You're going to see look at Van Jones. We're going to protect the sister, and we're going to and Roland No Chins Martin, you know, talking about you know. And you got to understand, if you look at they feel comfortable doing that.
Yeah.
And everybody around them feels comfortable doing that. And what's happened is they pulled their nuclear option, which was, let's bring out Obama. Yeah. He's going to give him a speech because he's a phenomenal orator. Yeah. You got to give it to him. That man speaks, you're inspired.
Yeah.
However, we offer speeches, homeboy.
Yeah, I think that I think that in general, right, and this has been a criticism of mine against the DNC as a whole, because it's like, you can't even just excoriate the candidate. You got to look at the whole, you know, you got to run this up the flagpole and look at the whole chain.
Absolutely.
Their inability to produce truly dynamic candidates with policy that aligns with where we are in America now, specifically black people. I don't even care about everybody else,
right,
but specifically where we are now in America. Their inability to do that since the two Obama, you know, presidencies, 2 terms or whatever the case may be, has been embarrassing.
Right.
They trotted out Hillary. Then they trotted out Biden, and then now you bring us the last placed candidate from the 2020, like, and you're trying to sell us on like it's the same as Obama. And I'm just like, yo, even in optics, even if we don't agree with his policy, what he did, none of that. Barack is one of the greatest, if not the greatest politician of all time.
Oh, like he's on the Mount Rushmore.
He's on the Mount Rushmore.
He's the George Washington of the Mount Rushmore in order of greatest politicians of all time.
So even with that in mind, it's like, yo, you can't bring me a subpar politician on top of not having the tangible policy and everything else, because we already fell for the great politician, no tangibles. So now you're giving us no tangibles and you're not even selling it right.
Yeah, but see, here's the gag, and this is what everybody's missing. Of course they can. You want to know why? Because at least 80% of these Negroes are still going to vote that way.
That's a fact.
And the other part of that is, right, Barack said, and I'm paraphrasing, he said, well, if it's not that, and the numbers aren't like what it was when I was running, so basically you must have a problem with the women. So when we voted for you, instead of voting for Secretary Clinton, who was Senator Clinton,
yeah, did we have a problem with women?
Did we have a problem with women then, or was it just when it benefited you? Yeah. So either we were misogynist then or we're misogynist now. Which is it, Barry? What they should have done, if it were me and I'm going to trot out a candidate that's unproven, a candidate that isn't as dynamic as Barack Obama, I'm going to give you Michelle.
Yeah.
I'd have gave you Michelle, because at least Michelle was respected. What I'm not going to do is stack the deck against myself by giving the electorate the lowest reported vice president, polling wise,
yes,
in modern recorded history.
Yeah.
She was so bad that even Jimmy Kimmel was like, she's at a record low, 28%. There are people on CNN. I'm not talking Fox or none of that.
I'm talking about liberal media.
I'm talking about liberal media saying the worst mistake Joseph Robinette Biden Jr. ever made was picking her as his running mate. She's a drag on the ticket. These are direct quotes. You can Google it if you got nothing better to do.
Yeah.
But magically overnight, they put that PR spin machine to work and they said, oh, we got to get behind her. She's one of you, this, that, and the third. Then my question to y'all is, from a logical perspective, 6 months ago, y'all were saying, hell, not even 6 months ago, 3 months ago, y'all were saying, anybody seen Kamala? Blink if you okay, Kamala, you good? What has she done? Where's she at?
Yeah.
You know, so I'm frustrated with how quickly we forget what somebody did or did not do. And then the gag is, if we're going to turn the page, right? If we're going to make a change and you're the change candidate and the View asks you, what do you think you would have done different or are different when it comes to Joe Biden? Your answer is, I'm not Joe Biden and I'm not Donald Trump. But other than that, I don't see anything that I would do differently. Nothing. Yeah, and then you can't hide behind the wackadoo argument some of you North American slack-jawed big backs are making, which is, well, she's the vice president, so she doesn't have any power. I'm sorry, she's a heartbeat away from the presidency.
And she's the president of the Senate.
She's the president of the United States Senate. And she cast the tiebreaker vote for the American Rescue Plan and the Inflation Reduction Act. Yeah. Are you kidding me? She has plenty of power. And Joe Biden said, also on The View, that she was involved in every single decision I made. She consulted. She has much power and as much reign to do whatever she wanted to do. Because if that's the case, you also have to understand from a legal and constitutional perspective, the vice president also serves at the pleasure of the president. Mm-hmm. So if the president says, I need you to handle boom, 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 because I told you to handle it, and he just said, because this is your man,
yeah,
he just said that she did. So now what? So why is she doing all this change that she says she's going to do? What page is she turning? Because the script's the same on every single page in this book.
Yeah. What a big mistake that I feel like, we're gonna get back to Obama, sure, but a big mistake that I feel like she made and that the party made was they didn't even just say, you know what, put the stake in his heart. Put the stake in Joe Biden's heart. Distance yourself as far from this dumpster fire as humanly possible. Mm-hmm. He's not running for any viable office or any future aspirations of being a politician. He's sunset. He's done.
Yeah, he's in God's waiting room.
Why wouldn't they allow her to just put the stake in his heart and say, you know what? There's a lot of things that went on during the course of this presidency. Some I agree with, some that I didn't. I serve at the behest of the president. This is a new day. I'm going to do something completely different and transformative. I'm here for y'all ideas. Y'all tell me what y'all want. We're going to craft policy around what makes sense for a new America.
Have I seen any question you've written?
No.
Okay. Do you see how I'm able to answer your questions? I'm able to process and think. She can't do that. So they have to make sure that things are set up in such a way that she can't do that. That's point number one. Point number two is you also have to remember if the DNC does what you're saying, then they have to admit that they were phoning it in for the past 3.5 years. Yeah. They have to admit that they had a blood vendetta out on Trump. That's why they stopped building that wall, and 10 plus million that we can account for undocumented immigrants or migrants or whatever they're called this week are in. You have to look at the fact that inflation is horrible. And they can say, well, it's starting to go down. So if I were to beat your cousin, right, for every day, 5 days a week, right, and then all of a sudden I just beat him 1 day a week when before I wasn't beating him at all, you're dropping off, but the beatings are still happening.
Yeah, Malcolm X said if you stick a knife 6 inches in my back, you pull it out 3 inches, that's not progress.
That's not progress. But guess what? That's what they're doing. And they're trying to act like this is okay. This is what they always do. And Malcolm X also said if you're voting for the Democrat and the white liberal, you're a chump. So, you know, that's what they're going to do. There's no way to do it without admitting that they out and out suck. And then they keep making really bad decisions to even support and prop up. You give them bumbling Elmer Fudd as the vice presidential running mate. Yeah. You could have had Josh Shapiro.
Could have had Wes Moore.
You could have Wes Moore.
But now we really talking about a black ticket now.
Bruh.
Like, and that's the problem that I have with the Democrats. It's like, we play this like the identity politics part of it, right?
Oh, yeah.
And it's like the one drop rule is like overly used when it comes to like trotting out a black candidate.
Sure.
You have Wes Moore, somebody who's authentically black, blackity black from a black place.
Yeah.
That's in the ghettos. Was just here in North Philly last week at Victory and North with Pastor Carl, with our guy Mike Morak or whatever, with these kids, seeing the program, something they got going on, like authentically black.
Right.
And they didn't say, oh, Wes, come on. Like, and he's a dynamic candidate. He's the dynamic candidate that I'm talking about.
Yes. No.
And they're like, nope, not yet.
Mm-mm. Bro, he's Kelly Rowland.
Yes.
He's dope.
Yeah.
He can sing. He's attractive, but he never going to get to the point where the whole audience goes mute. You understand what I'm saying to you? Then the other part of that is you picked the governor of Minnesota?
That was wild.
The governor of Minnesota, where George Floyd got killed. Minnesota that got burned down. Minnesota that sat up there and had the abortion situation where there's absolutely no limits. There's limits on Roe v. Wade. There's no limits on that Minnesota abortion law. I don't care what they tell you. I've read it.
Yeah.
So you've got that guy who literally got washed by a bearded 40-year-old kid.
Yeah.
Like he was in. Yeah, so no, there's some things we agree on, there's some things we disagree on, but I mean, let's just look at the record. He did this, that, and the third. Boom, boom, boom,
Yeah.
boom. You don't look
Then he
like
got
you're
jammed.
ready.
Then he got jammed up lying about
Tiananmen Square.
Yeah, being at Tiananmen Square when it was like, yo, you was here 17 months later or whatever it was, buddy. He like, oh damn, yeah, I'm an idiot. I be forgetting stuff.
I'm a bonehead.
I'm a bonehead, man.
Yeah. So I'm supposed to hope that if, God forbid, the vice president, if and when she becomes president, gets killed or is incapacitated, that you're the guy.
Elmer, you up?
Be very, very quiet. I'm hunting racists and communists and Republicans. Wow. No, dog.
How could they get this so wrong at every step?
I think what they want to do is throw this whole situation away and then come back with like, oh God, Jesus. They're going to try and run somebody like a Gavin Newsom or Josh Shapiro or somebody like that. If they get Shapiro, they get Jewish Obama. If they let him turn Pennsylvania around, because if you look at what the mayor of Philadelphia, Sherelle Parker, is doing with what she's doing in Kensington and the way she's trying to clean up the streets and take care of things, if he can make those things work in Pittsburgh and Erie and then also get a hold of the migrant situation, he becomes a star.
Yeah.
And then there have been times when they've tossed out candidates just to say, hey, we tried and it didn't work. But this guy we got coming down the pike.
Yeah, they soft like field tested Josh as as the VP candidate, and then the story was, oh, he's got more work to do in PA. And my thing was this: I love Josh Shapiro. Sure. I've met the man. I like him a lot. I've seen him a lot. I like what he's doing for the state, specifically in the criminal justice reform arena, and empowering people that I know that work in government to do things around criminal justice reform.
Absolutely.
I didn't want to lose my governor to a losing ticket.
Yeah, no.
That was my thing. Like, I don't want to lose my governor to a losing ticket where he's distracted and he takes his eye off the ball for 4 months or whatever and isn't as focused on PA as he needs to be and what we need to fix in order to get all of this different stuff that we got going on under control.
Yeah, and I also don't think his lieutenant governor, who reminds me of Doofus from DuckTales, is in a position to take over the Keystone State. I don't believe in that guy. I don't have any proof. It's just, you see somebody like, nah, he's not the guy.
Just like a gut feeling.
It's a gut feeling. Or like you ever see somebody and you know good and hell well, if he didn't have money, he'd never be able to pull that chick. Yeah. That's what I get when I see him. I don't believe.
Don't pass the eye test or the smell test.
The eye test or the smell test. I think he might have been an affirmative action hire. So I need Josh Shapiro to stay right where he is.
Yeah. So back to Obama.
Let's go talk about
his commentary felt and it sounded just like something we heard before, which was Joe Biden on the Breakfast Club in 2020.
Right.
If you don't vote for me, you ain't black.
Right.
It felt and it had the same stench to it, like as that. And despite folks having tangible reasons for why they're not supporting her, what do you think like his motivation was to basically he's turned into like the sacrificial lamb now, to where it's like we're talking about him and we're not even talking about all of the ineffectiveness of the campaign right now.
Well, here's the thing, Chad. You got to look at it like this. Obama. Okay. Do you remember Obama's first term?
Yes.
Okay. Henry Louis Gates Jr., who's famous for Finding Your Roots on PBS. If you've never seen it, it's a phenomenal show. He left his keys in the house, locked himself out, so he broke into his own home. Cop came up, hemmed him up, whatever the case may be. When the incident broke, it was national news.
Yeah.
Barack Obama famously said the cop acted stupidly. Somebody told and ordered the leader of the free world to have a beer summit with a local beat cop?
Yeah, that's
and
wild.
Skip Gates? So whoever told him to have that summit is probably of the same ilk or level as the people who told him going out there and chastise them Negroes and get them in line. Because you got to remember, somebody like him would be an overseer. Because what was an overseer 9 times out of 10? He was usually the mulatto son of the slave master.
Right.
A lot of these HBCUs were built so that these half-breed black people could have an education. See, education used to be for the rich. It's the same play. But we don't have that conversation because that's uncomfortable and y'all love him. And yes, we can and hope and change. But y'all hoping that something changed and it didn't, except for the amount of money in your wallet ain't going as far as it used to.
Yeah, absolutely. Why do you think, this is probably going to be the most loaded question that I
let
asked you
me take a drink of water. Then.
Yeah. Why do the Democrats feel like they own black people and the black vote?
Because black people don't demand anything for their vote. Here's the thing. 1991 or so, didn't Bill Clinton get on the Arsenio Hall show and play a sax and we lost our minds? Right? In 2016, didn't Hillary Clinton go on TV One and Roland Martin did that really zesty, tangy ass dance with the matching pantsuit with Hillary Clinton? Like, what do you need other than symbolism and, you have some fried chicken or say you got hot sauce in your bag? What tangibles do we ever demand for our vote? The other part of that is, if you know for a fact that you never have to take your girl out on a date, you don't never have to show her nothing, you don't ever have to really be kind to her, and every time you want to clap cheeks, she gonna let you beat, what's the incentive of you being a good, loyal, faithful man?
There is none.
So if 80 to 90% of you have voted this way for 60 years, what's the incentive to do anything? You love benign neglect. You won't even listen to somebody who has a tangible plan for you because they happen to have an elephant on their chest instead of a donkey on their chest. Because I can remember Rand Paul having a plan that was very similar to the opportunity zones that Trump talked about, where he was like, you can't build in a black neighborhood and get these tax breaks unless you're hiring at least 95% in the black community where you are operating. We'll give you all the tax break in the world, but we need to build up the black community, because if you build up the black community, you build up the economy. You build up the economy, we start thriving.
You stop crime. If there's economic prosperity, you stop crime. Every study that's ever been conducted that shows in areas where there's a thriving economy, crime is low.
Yeah, because people, listen, what did Tupac say? We are hungry, please let us in. Then I'm picking the door. That's what it comes down to. But we don't have that conversation, because if you're a Republican, you're automatically a racist, but you still continue to let all the racists who happen to be Democrats run wild. Nancy Pelosi said Donald Trump, and I'm not here to defend Donald Trump by any far stretch of the imagination, but I am here to defend the truth. Nancy Pelosi said that when Donald Trump said, oh, this virus is coming from Wuhan, China, it's a China virus, let's shut it down. She went immediately to Chinatown and got some dim sum and said that Donald Trump was racist. When people were talking about the situation with Colin Kaepernick and George Floyd, this, that, and the third, she put on kente cloth
and took a knee. That picture still haunts me to this day. I get secondhand embarrassment every time I see it.
At some point, even if you don't think it's racist, it's at least racially and culturally inappropriate and insensitive, but we say absolutely nothing. You let William Jefferson Clinton, who married a Goldwater girl, by the way, sit up here and say, well, yeah, I'm not really that impressed with Obama because, I mean, hell, Jesse Jackson won in South Carolina. You're cool with that. Like, you continue to let these things happen. The Democrats did the 94 crime bill. By the way, y'all love talking about, oh, Donald Trump took out a 2-page ad, $85,000 in the newspaper for the Central Park 5. But everybody, the DA, the ADA, the mayor, the police chief, they were all Democrats.
Me and Dan just talked about this the other day.
And then
24 hours ago.
Then the Democratic Party trotted out the quote-unquote exonerated 5 at the Democratic National Convention. And then, by the way, the lead prosecutor, who was in the press telling everybody, look, we got a Coke can, here's a Pepsi can, and we got all this evidence, she was still donating to the Democratic Party to this day. And you say nothing because they are donkeys and you like donkeys. I don't care what Charlemagne say. Donkeys are the people of the day you love.
Yeah.
So that's why they can do this, and that's why they continue to treat us the way we get treated. That's why.
Yeah.
Because we don't stand up and we don't withhold our vote. And anytime you do, like Amanda Seals' punk ass, because I had a conversation with her and I was like, we need to withhold our vote. Voting is a representative thing.
Yeah.
So if you're not giving me anything for my vote, what's
don't
my
get my
incentive?
vote. Yeah, you don't
get my vote. And she said, well, this is the most critical time. And you know, she get all worked up when somebody doesn't agree with her because her self-diagnosed autism started kicking in. And she said, this is the most critical time and this, that, and the third. And I'm like, well, wasn't it the most critical time when McCain was running? Wasn't it the most critical time when Mitt Romney was running? Wasn't
Bush was running?
It's always a critical time where everything is falling down and the sky is, well, calm down, cute chicken little. This ain't gonna work, boo-boo cakes. That's what they do because it's vote blue no matter who. And my whole thing is you'll get my vote when you promise me something and not nonsensical intangibles that don't make any sense in reality.
Yeah. We were literally sitting down with Maj Toure. Mm-hmm. You hooked us up with that.
Yes,
shout
sir.
out to you. Shout out to Maj.
Shout out to Maj Toure.
As the news was breaking of Biden dropping out of the election, we were sitting there recording with Maj, and we got to respond to it on the spot or whatever. And he was basically saying, like minutes before, he literally said, the minute that Biden drops out, if he does, the whole media industrial complex is going to mobilize around Kamala.
Yep.
And Charlemagne's going to fall in line, and Steve Harvey, all of these people are going to fall in line, and it was so.
Of course.
Pretty much immediately.
Yes.
How isn't the media held to any sort of standard of scrutiny for literally constantly talking out of both sides of their mouth when it comes to what's going on in this country and like gaslighting the fuck out of American citizens and making it seem like things aren't as bad or as dire as they are?
Because again, we don't come from a place of intelligence. We don't come from a place of logic. What we do is we talk out of both sides of our necks. So for example, every time you have a D.L. Hughley, a Ricky Smiley, a Charlemagne, and some of those people I consider friends, and some of those people I know and I never want to see again, say that we got to get behind this particular person and we're going to spend all this time, we're going to dedicate yourself and yay, they're violating federal law because if you give that much time to one candidate, you have to give it to the other candidate.
Yeah.
So when I had Ricky in syndication, the one thing that I had to do was anytime we talked to Barack, I had to make an offer to the McCain camp in order to say, listen, on the record, if the FCC ever audited us, no, we reached out on this date, we did not get a response, we called, we left a message, I had to keep a log, because otherwise you're breaking the law. And so now, who's going to hold them responsible? Who's going to hold them responsible? Nobody's going to hold them responsible for the government.
Right.
You mean the government that benefits from this agenda? So that's why they do that. Not to mention, they know that we're not necessarily that savvy. So if we are taking political advice from somebody whose biggest claim to fame is "bust it, baby," at some point you got to realize that they don't take us seriously because we don't demand respect. Malcolm X also said you ought to be ashamed of yourself if you're taking your direction from a comedian or a trumpet player.
Right.
Entertainers ain't leaders.
Yeah.
So that's why they do that, and they get paid well. If they don't get paid in cash, they get paid in favors. They get paid in adjacency.
Right.
And listen, the kooky, emotional, weak Negroes love to be able to be seen in places other people can't be seen.
Yeah.
Did you see how happy DL's tiny little behind was when he walked out at the DNC?
It was bad.
You need to be just as loud with your apology as you were with your accusation. Really?
Yeah, it was wild.
Really, DL? You want to go there, homie? Bro, you are not the guy to be making decisions about who is moral and who has this or that or the other. Like, you're not the person to do that.
Yeah.
Like, I never claim to be the moral majority. That's not my shtick. But what I ain't going to do is listen to somebody who was on the bench of the original Kings of Comedy. And the only reason you got that spot is because Guy Torrey left the tour. So, like, what are we talking about? What have you done significantly? And if you're that concerned about your community, D.L. Hughley, Ricky Smiley, I'm not going to say so much Steve Harvey because Steve Harvey has done things for the community that tangibly make sense. But how many scholarships has D.L. Hughley given to black kids, right? How many comedy camps has he put on? Like, other tthan your own children, how many kids have you put through school? Since you care so much about, our community, where you at? Yeah. Because sitting in the GED section, letting your paid giggle box tell you that this sounds good is not helping black people at all.
Yeah. Speaking of Steve Harvey, I like Steve Harvey a lot.
Sure.
You know, I think that he's he's got the aspirational part down. I think that, you know, as far as doing the work and showing, you know, positive work ethic to people of color, he's gotten that down.
Sure.
But he did something that was really deceiving and dishonest back in the summertime. Dr. Umar basically called out all of those guys that you mentioned. D.L. Hughley, Ricky Smiley, Steve Harvey, Plies, called out everybody, basically saying like, y'all niggas won't shut up about this shit because I know y'all getting paid.
Correct.
And I know y'all getting paid because they offered me $10,000 to do an interview, a sit-down interview with Kamala, and I turned it down.
Correct.
Because my influence is not for sale.
Correct.
Which was admirable of Umar to do that.
Right.
Steve Harvey, when it came back to him, but they playing, you know, pickleball or whatever with this in the media.
Right.
When the pickleball got lobbed back to him, it turned into, I know I ain't get paid because you can't get me to do nothing for 10,000. It became about the 10,000 rather than the fact that you are being co-opted by this candidate and by this party.
Right.
And people fell for that shit. And I'm just like, yo, what is happening here? Like, I'm like, yo, are we just completely void of people who have the ability to think on a three-dimensional level and see past the bullshit or the media spin that these people are putting on?
We have lost all ability to have any type of objectivity.
Yeah.
Here's why. When he sat down with Kamala, the first thing he said was, I talked to you backstage and we're going to do some things with my ranch and blah, blah, skibbity, bop, 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 bop. That is plug-ola, homeboy.
Yeah, that's compensation.
You're compensated. You can be compensated in favors. You can be compensated in consideration. You can be compensated in just a million and one ways for me to pay you.
Government contracts.
Right. First up, you got
tax abatement.
Right. You've got nonprofits. You've got all types of things that you could easily, you know, make that money and still say, well, I didn't get any 10,000.
10,000.
Come on.
You can't get Steve Harvey to do nothing for 10,000.
And he's absolutely right.
You can't.
No, you can't. Listen,
you're a mega millionaire. I wouldn't expect you to be doing nothing for 10,000, but to make it about the 10,000 and not about the fact that you've been co-opted, was nasty work.
But again, here's the thing: that people have a very short memory, right?
Yes.
Because they remember that, like, it wasn't but 5 years ago when people were dragging Steve Harvey through the mud because he might have been 6 years ago when he met with Donald Trump at Trump Tower, and when Trump got elected and he met with Dr. Ben Carson, y'all keep acting like Dr. Ben Carson isn't a genius. The
literal definition of a genius.
He's literally that. And he said, I can't say nothing else, but Donald Trump did everything that he said he was going to do. Y'all forget when he sat up there and said, yeah, we're going to make America great again. But everybody was calling Steve all types of coons and sellouts and this, that, and the third. Now y'all forgot all that.
Yeah.
Y'all forgot all that. And that's the thing. They know you'll forget. Because even they've done studies where if you present somebody with evidence, actual factual evidence to the contrary of what they believe, and it's ironclad, it ain't been doctored, edited, photoshopped, manipulated in any way, they're still going to say, yeah, but I'm still going to do it anyway. It's like I'm going to stick by him. We have like Stockholm syndrome of an after-school special SA victim.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we're never getting past that because we can't stop worshiping people because they have a particular talent. And we don't think about elevating people who actually come from the intelligentsia space in black communities. Like how many times you seen Dr. Claude Anderson in mainstream media in the past 10 years? Twice. There's a reason for that. This man's been working on our behalf and has had plans for us since the Carter administration up to and most recently Ice Cube's contract with Black America. Yeah. And y'all called Ice Cube a sellout not because he was trying to put a plan together, but because he met with the Trump campaign after the Biden campaign rejected him. But he said
Biden campaign told him, come back later. We'll holler at you later.
After we get elected, and they didn't holler at him, and then they had a Zoom call. Yeah. And he was like, I'm not to be on a Zoom call with Snoop Dogg and D.L. Hughley. Like, I'm trying to talk about tangibles.
Yeah.
And guess what happened?
I'm working with the most important, not even black economists, the most important economists in the history of this nation.
Yes. Right.
Hands down. This is undisputable.
Right. This ain't like he got Boyce Watkins, no diss to Boyce, but there's levels.
There's levels to
even
this.
Boyce will kowtow to Dr. Claude Anderson. Every
every sitting president from the Carter administration to now has at least contacted this man or consulted with him about something with their economic policy.
Correct.
So from 72 to now.
So now.
They all talked to him.
Yes.
And instead of people looking at that and saying, damn, Ice Cube is brilliant because how did he even get this guy to agree to sit down with him and put this together? He must be really, really serious. They called him everything but his government name.
Of course. Why wouldn't they?
And I will never forgive black people for that because that was black people that did that dumb shit.
Yes, because whenever one of us says something that's contrary to what other people believe, we're pariahs, we're tap dancing, we want butter biscuits, this, that, and the third. When the real tap dancing, butter biscuit, step and fetch your coons are the ones telling you to go vote for these people and don't ask them for anything. Then Steve Harvey said, this is my real beef with Steve. And when I say beef, I mean I have a criticism about one particular thing, not with the man.
Yeah.
He said, we got to get her in there first. No. We got Obama in there for 8 years, bro.
Two terms.
2 terms. What do we get?
And a landslide at that.
What do we get? No, you're going to have to put something up. And when we do that, it's not a problem. But guess what? The Asians was like, oh, no, we're not doing this. And they got that Asian crime bill, whip snap.
Yeah.
Did the George Floyd Justice Reform Act, did that pass yet?
I'm not even sure. I haven't heard no updates.
The answer is no. The answer is no. And there's a reason.
Yeah.
And the other part of that is black people, y'all love talking about, oh, we raised $1 million, this, that, and that. Can Black America, where were you in 2019 and 2020 when Kamala dropped out before Iowa, where she stated that she couldn't get y'all to donate? Where were y'all financially then? Where were the AKAs? Where was all the skiwi and perm? Where were the pros and chucks? Where was the rest of the divine line?
George Soros didn't tell them that it was okay to give that money up.
Oh, you mean somebody has to tell them how to think?
Yeah.
Even the talented 10th are corrupt. Okay, cool. Got it.
Yeah, because there's, she's raised upwards of like $1 billion. $1 billion. Which is crazy. And there was an early news story that came out that said, I forget the guy's name. You might know who I'm talking about. He's basically George Soros' right-hand man. He's another Hungarian mega billionaire, whatever, that he sent 200 million in that first week. After those them call to actions went out and black women and black men for Kamala and all of that, he sent 200 million through like micro donations or whatever that people were forensically investigating because they like this doesn't make sense.
No.
And they traced it back to him. And yet and still there's been more money and more money and more money and nobody's saying like, yo, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah. Because why would they? Because the whole plan is not to do anything in order to improve the conditions for the American people. The whole plan is we have to beat Donald Trump. Whenever you ask any of these people a question, the first thing they'll say is, well, Trump. When you have conversations online about, hey, I don't particularly like this. What are her policies? Why didn't she put her policies on the website? This, that, and the third. Well, does Donald Trump have policies on his website? Well, actually, he does.
He's been updating them since December 2021, actually.
Yeah, but, again, that doesn't matter. And then, Trump's Project 2025. Like, have you read Project 2025? It's 900 and some odd pages. I've read it. I read it 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And I read it last year. But that's not important. What is important is Agenda 47, which is Trump's actual thing.
And it's on the website.
It's on the website.
So let me ask you this, right?
Right.
And we're gonna get called Trump apologists or whatever for this. I don't even give a fuck at this point. But I'm just trying to have some transparency here.
Sure.
It's literally on his website.
Yes.
He's telling you what he's going to do.
Yes.
He updates it every fucking month.
Every month.
The team in Trump, they update it every month.
Every month.
And people are still going, but Project 2025. And I'm just like, yo, he's telling you what he's going to do. No. And y'all are still like, no, but this other thing that's the most unconstitutional shit ever. That's no way that 80% of this shit could ever pass.
No.
That's what the plan is.
Yes. You ever see Lean On Me?
Yeah.
Yeah. What does Sam say? We don't want a good principal. We want Mr. Clark. Joe Clark is I need y'all to understand, Joe Clark is the Thanos of that movie. He is not the good guy.
Yeah,
the good guy is Lynn Thigpen because she's advocating for her kid. Yeah. Right? And Joe Clark wasn't there to clean up the school. Joe Clark was to go in there and help them raise the scores of the minimum basic skills test so they can get more funding from the state of New Jersey. He was put in there because nobody else wanted to do the job. Yeah. That's what they do. They trot out the black people when it's time to do the thing that nobody else wants to do. And then when it goes left, they just throw it there and say, well, we gave you the black guy.
Right.
Why does that sound so familiar? Never mind. Go ahead.
Because we keep saying this shit over and over and over and over and over and over and over.
And you don't have to be a Trump apologist to understand that something is really, really, really wrong with this, right? So, Asuncion Hostin, who is on The View, she calls herself Sunny because she likes to cosplay like she's one of us.
She's miserable. She's miserable.
Like, sometimes you can really ruin the fact that you're relatively attractive for your age because you run your mouth and you say things like ridiculously stupid black men. And we gotta wake them up. Wait, what? But that's what, like, it drives me insane that these people continue to say these things. And Donald Trump is so bad. Was Donald Trump bad when he was in Whoopi Goldberg's movies and didn't charge her a dime? Was Donald Trump bad when, Joey Behar said, "Oh, Donald's such a good guy"? So, like, which side of your two-faced, cackling next?
Or when he financed Jesse Jackson's presidential run twice. Or when Omarosa, a black woman, an actual black woman, won The Apprentice.
Yeah, or the very first real Apprentice, the very first one, because Omarosa did not win when she was on The Real Apprentice. I think she won Celebrity Apprentice, but Randall, whatever the hell his name was, right? And and the producers at NBC were in his ear like, "Yo, ask him if he wants to share it with the white girl." And so Trump asked him, and the dude said, "Mr. Trump, with all due respect, it's not called The Apprentice. I won this."
Yeah.
And he was like, "All right, cool." Like, I don't understand how we go from time to go to work, make the block bump, boys in the hood, call me Black Donald Trump. Everybody loved this dude. He was at Home Alone. Y'all ain't had no problem with him.
Yeah.
Was he a slumlord? When did all this become the thing? Oh, it became the thing because
he put the elephant on him.
He got into the wrong Zord. And I feel bad for people who are so easily manipulated by what other people tell them to do that they cannot think for themselves.
Something crazy that happened that just now got debunked literally in like August was there was good people on both sides thing. The Charlottesville shit.
Yeah.
Maj Touré was at the White House.
Yeah.
The day
that happened. Yeah.
He said, "I was there. I watched him record that shit." He said, "I didn't have a MAGA hat on. I wasn't fucking on some white national shit. I was at the White House for a meeting, and I was stopping some people from beating up Officer Tatum," is what he said. He said, "I was stopping two people from fucking up Officer Tatum."
Jesus.
He said, and Trump got up there and did that press conference and said, "Hey, it's a tragedy what happened. Somebody lost their life."
Yep.
However, there was good people on both sides that were just there to peacefully protest.
Right.
Not the white nationalists or the Nazis or the white supremacists.
No.
Fuck those guys.
Yeah, not them.
Not them.
No.
But there were literally good people there on both sides. And he said, by the time I got home to watch television, I saw that shit and said, "Oh shit. This is why the media is the most effective devil in America, because he's a Nazi sympathizer in an instant with hundreds of people in the room. And they still were able to successfully for 4 years. That full video just got on the internet in August.
Yes.
What the fuck?
Bro, because y'all don't question them. That's one. The other part of that is you're talking about somebody who literally chin-checked other contestants on the Celebrity Apprentice when they didn't even realize that, you're doing something with royalty. You got Lil Jon here. Do you not know that Lil Jon is the king of crunk? Like, that's what he did. Here's the thing. Do you remember why Arsenio Hall got canceled?
It was basically a back and forth with the late night wars and Letterman and them switching time slots. He was syndicated for, CBS, and then they did some backdoor shit because Letterman was supposed to get Johnny Carson's show, and they ended up pulling a fast one, gave him Jay Leno, put Jay Leno in the spot, and then he was supposed to do the Late Show. He turned it down and said, "I'll go to CBS and compete." Right. And then they basically killed Arsenio's syndication deal with the Fox and CBS.
Yeah, that's a real good story. The other part of that is that Arsenio said, "Oh, well, the hell with this. I'm going to have Farrakhan on." Right? And they said, "Oh, okay. Now we're really going to speed this up." Right? Do you know that Arsenio Hall won the Celebrity Apprentice?
Yeah.
Do you remember when Arsenio Hall got his late night talk show back?
Yeah.
You know who was responsible for that, right?
Donald Trump.
Thank you. So he's a really stupid racist.
Yeah. Keep helping these platforming and helping these niggas.
Why are you platforming Negroes? I don't get it. It just doesn't make sense to me. The other part of that is, who has Kamala Harris platformed? Who has Joe Biden platformed? Significantly.
Yeah.
Right? What community in Black America says, you know what, we are just so much better off from these past 3.5 years? Like, I love the $6 eggs. I love this $8 gas we got. I'm good with that. Like, again, I don't like a lot of Donald Trump's rhetoric. I don't like some of Donald Trump's plans. I think he needs to be a whole lot stronger on reparations. I think he needs to be very specific in this updated platinum plan, which is supposed to be coming out. Yeah. I think also he needs to do a lot more to stop letting people get his goat, because it becomes about his rally. Sometimes his ego takes over. That can be problematic. However, what's happening with the Democratic Party was nothing short of a coup, because at the end of the day, they forced Joe Biden out, because didn't he just say
I'm not dropping out?
It would take an act of God himself would have to tell me, is Nancy Pelosi Jesus?
Is Obama God?
Which God is it?
Yeah, it's like the mob. Like, you know, when you get into high level politics like this, it's like being in the mob, because they send your best friend to kill you. Like, they sent Obama to break the news to Biden, like, you gonna get the fuck out this election. Immediately.
Right, then you're gonna take a 2-month vacation where you're just gonna be on several beaches.
Yeah.
And who's running the country?
Man, she's out campaigning. Right. He's on multiple beaches. They misreported that he died the one time. They said that he was dead and he was a corpse, and they was transporting him across country or whatever. I'm just like, yo, like, what the fuck is going on here? But I say all that to say, observing both parties. Yes. I think that there have been big mistakes on both sides. What mistakes have you noticed in particular that made you go like, I wouldn't have did that? Okay, so with Trump, I think it was a mistake picking J.D. Vance. I think he's charismatic. I think he's young, but I think it's too early for him. Yeah. If you wanted to hem up the black vote, I'd have gone with Byron Donalds. Byron Donalds is amazing. Byron Donalds is I'm dropping a children's book. He's scary smart. I'm dropping a children's book called Dave Anderson and His Magical Bag of Facts. Byron Donalds has his own magical bag of facts. And he made Angela Rye crumble. Yes. And I was like, she had a full-fledged meltdown. He Thanos'd her. He literally force-choked her like Darth Vader with facts. And whether you agreed with the facts or not, the facts were the facts. And he silenced Charlemagne in the same token, and Charlotte always got something to say. Yeah, but when you hand people paper and say, just read the highlighted section. Yeah, and and by the way, I was in the budget committee when it came down. So how you going to tell me what did or didn't happen? Were either you in the budget committee? Yeah, were you duly elected by the people? Like, that's the thing. And me and Dan sat and watched that in his house. Like, and I'm just like, yo, this motherfucker's magical. Like, he's scary. Like, he's somebody. I'm not wishing this. That's a motherfucker they'll kill. Like that. Yeah. He's too smart. You too good. You too smart. You an up north nigga. You on a Florida ticket. Yeah. Like, you're too good. Yeah, and I don't want to hear nothing about Byron Donalds being a sellout because he has a white spouse, because if that's the case, your vice president. That upends a whole lot of other arguments. Your Supreme Court justice, your Van Jones. I mean, I could do this all day. Like, I'm Captain America. I could do this all day. But the thing of it is that's mistake number one. Mistake number two is the Republicans have too many people who are in the quote unquote, I'm going to reach out to black people space, that have absolutely no street cred. Oh man, listen, to that point, right? They just did they're doing a concert series, Turning Point USA, which is one of the big super PACs that supports Trump. They got endless money. Yes, they do. Endless bread. Sure they're doing a concert series right now, different places, Philly, Detroit, Florida, Texas, all over the place. Rich the Kid, it's like different people different days. Rich the Kid, 42 Doug, just random people or whatever the case may be. Jack Boy, like Kodak Black, all these different people or whatever. They doing these pop-up concerts. They did one at Noto, which is downtown Philly, a venue that we've been at, done live shows and stuff. And they booked out the venue from 7 p.m. to 2 a.m. So basically a free concert with talent. Rich the Kid, Jack Boy, free entry, whatever the case may be. All you got to do is RSVP so that they have your info. They can remarket to you, come through, register to vote if you're not voted already, voting if you're not registered already, or just verify your registration status. Right. That's it. It's no catches, no nothing. Right. 25 people showed up. Yeah. So when you speak to them doing outreach to black people with people that have no fucking idea what they're talking about. That's a tangible thing that happened in Philadelphia in the last 17 days.
Correct.
Where they did all of this marketing, social media ads and all of that, but they didn't have nobody with boots on the ground to say, hey, even if you don't agree with the platform that it's on, who gives a fuck? It's a free show.
Right. Because y'all showed up for free shows, fried chicken and burgers to get a jab that you don't understand what the hell is in it. It's an mRNA recombinant. And you had no problem with that. The problem with organizations like that, and again, I don't have anything against any of these people. This is just my professional opinion based upon, years and years of doing media relations, spin, crisis management, things of that nature. They don't know how to relate because they have nobody who relates to those people on that level. There's nobody you see, with very few exceptions. I know Brandon Tatum is from Stop 6. He's from a hood in Dallas. I'll give it to him.
Yeah.
But I think he's really far removed from that.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to have somebody that has real reasons behind that to say, okay, listen, this is why I'm voting this way. Like I tell people, like, well, are you conservative? Are you a liberal? Here it is. You ready?
Put it on the record.
Here's your exclusive. I am a social leaning liberal who is a fiscal conservative. You want to know why? Because I have 300 employees. I got to make sure I make payroll.
Right.
So it makes sense for me to have really good tax laws in place. Right? But I also think there should be social programs for American citizens who happen to look like me, who were born here, or people who actually went through the process to become citizens.
Yeah.
Over and above illegal people who ran here because we destabilized their country, or they just decided to come through because there's a big gaping hole in the wall.
Yeah.
Right?
What did it on a 60 Minutes interview that Kamala did? They substantiated. They said 4 times the amount of people have come across this border in the last 4 years than they did the prior 8.
Right. They called it a flood.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. And I mean, again, this is what happens when you ignore Lester Holt. And Lester Holt said, what's up? What you going to? Well, I don't know why I was talking. We've been to the border. Have you been to? Well, I haven't been to New York. That's not a very presidential response by any far stretch of imagination. It's definitely not a good VP response. But the thing of it is, those people put a hurting, from a financial standpoint, on what tangibles are available for American citizens who actually pay taxes. And for you who don't understand this, 80% of the federal government's money comes from federal income taxpayers. I just need people to understand.
Yeah.
That,
so when they allow 10 million some odd migrants to come to America, create these sanctuary cities, and give them somewhere to stay on the government's dime, somewhere cash assistance.
Keep going.
Food stamps, WIC, whatever the case may be, IDs, nationalized citizenship, job placement.
Yes.
That's all on the American taxpayer's dime. They're passing us the bill.
Absolutely.
When the government foots the bill, we foot the bill.
Yes.
But somehow, some way, being anti-migrant has turned into being anti-American in the last 6 months.
Well,
which is blowing my mind.
No, it shouldn't, because they're setting things up, and this is a thing that nobody likes to talk about because they can't believe that things are happening. In 1994, there was a sheep named Dolly. Dolly was a cloned sheep.
I remember this.
Right? So now you've got people making meat without animals. You've got genetically modified organisms. You know what another term for a genetically modified organism is?
Clone.
Thank you. But again, if I keep putting something in your face in the entertainment field, you're not going to take it seriously.
Yeah.
By that same token, when you see that black people are starting to say, hey, listen, maybe if we diversified our vote like the gays do, maybe if we diversified our vote like the Hispanics do, like the Asians, like every other voting bloc in the country except us, maybe they'll take us seriously. And they say, no, Negroes, wait, watch this. We're going to make these people love us because we're going to open our doors. We're going to let them come on in, and we're going to give them absolutely everything. And you know what happens when you give somebody absolutely anything 9 times out of 10 and they haven't had anything to begin with? You get their loyalty. So then when you make them citizens, they become a bigger voting bloc. There's only, 39 million of us?
Yeah.
Out of that 39 million, maybe 26, 28 million vote. Well, guess what? If they start multiplying like Bebe's kids, then they've got a new replacement voting bloc that's always going to be loyal to them for the next 6 generations. But
Yeah, because they gave them everything.
Yeah, so they're replacing us, and you don't understand that because you worried about, well, y'all not going to do them jobs. No way. It's not about the jobs. It's about our ability to control an election. Right now, they're freaking out because black men literally have this election, in hand. It's not going to be that way in 8 years.
Yeah.
If these migrants are given status and citizenship, they are literally replacing us.
Yeah.
Very slowly, very deliberately. That's why
We're already not even the largest minority population in the United States as it is. Hispanics already passing. So now you're basically doubling down on the Hispanic voting bloc. But then here's the thing. When you talk to Hispanic males from Cuba, from PR, from Dominica, from other places in the Caribbean and stuff like that, and you talk to them about migrants and stuff like that, they themselves will say, if you didn't come here to America the right way, I don't fuck with you either.
Period.
Because I did what I needed to do. I either defected or I declared that I was no longer being a part of this nation or whatever the case may be.
Right.
I filed my paperwork. I put my kids in college.
Yes.
I did things the right way. So I'm not fucking with these motherfuckers either.
At all.
And that level, I guess they call it xenophobia or whatever the case may be, but that is basically being glossed over. But I don't look at it as xenophobia. That's a lived experience of there's a process to how we do things. Right. And if you buck the process, you are not the same as me because I did what needed to be done properly to create my American dream.
You're cheating.
You're cheating.
You're cheating and you're stealing. And that's not going to fly. And that's just what it is. And I think people are tired of that because what are we getting up working hard every day for? Like, do you know how disgusting it is to have to be a resident of Chicago right now and have people in city council meetings who are not citizens tell black women that they're lazy and that you need to go to work? Where the hell do you get off, sir?
Yeah, that's crazy.
No, vámonos immediately. Vaya con Dios, homie. Like it's insane. And then you have again, this is the issue again, right? So mistakes Democrats have made, right? And in order to understand the mistakes they're making now, you have to understand the mistakes they made in the past. So Barack Obama's chief of staff was a guy named Rahm Emanuel. Rahm Emanuel was the brother of Ari Emanuel, behind whom Jeremy Piven's character on Entourage is named
Who
after.
Literally owns everything.
Everything.
New company called Giant Music.
Yep,
he was the chairman of Live Nation, whilst also being the CEO of Ticketmaster. He led the what do you call it? The merger that created to where Live Nation and Ticketmaster are the same company. So when you see these high ass ticket prices, he's responsible.
Correct.
Then he took a huge buyout from that deal, went and became the CEO of MSG, and then he manages Travis Scott, Cardi B, and all of the biggest artists in the world. While the Eagles, while controlling every single live concert venue in America, and Abstentia as the hidden CEO of Live Nation.
CEO Emeritus.
CEO Emeritus because Michael Rapino was like his godson or his nephew.
Correct. So Rahm Emanuel was the chief of staff. He left the Obama White House to run for mayor of Chicago. And Chicago has gone downhill ever since. So now you got Brandon Johnson in there, with the stupid little pointy haircut like Dave Hollister in 1998. And what he has done is sat there and let these folks run wild like Hulkamania ran wild on the RNC. And he is completely ignoring the needs of the people. You're taking money from COVID funds. You're taking money from the education system in order to take care of these illegals. And you're standing there like a bump on a log. Republicans didn't do that.
And now you have Venezuelan street gangs going to war with Chicago street gangs and causing all of this civil unrest. Not to mention all of the assaults, the violent attacks, the murders, the rapes, and all of that's going on that are being reported on the news in Chicago every single day of the week.
No, but that's not real. It's only a handful of people. It's not that bad. No, it's not. Boy, I tell you, spin's a thing, man.
And it's growing in New York. Where now they're starting to like, you know what I'm saying? They're starting to tick up. Where they're like, yo, it's one group. It's these Venezuelan motherfuckers.
And do you hear what they're doing at night in Central Park? You can't go to Central Park at night because these wolf packs are coming in there. They're robbing people. They're assaulting people. They're banging people upside the head. You know what I'm saying? And y'all worrying about Donald Trump. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the pets. I don't get it. I don't understand it. But my whole thing is, they're not going to do anything because it doesn't affect them.
Yeah. How have the Democrats successfully convinced like majority of America that like the Republicans are in office right now? like that's like the funniest part of like everything that they talk from a position of like, hey man, you gotta get us in there so we can do what we need to do. I'm like, yo,
you're in there now.
You're in there right now.
Right now.
As we speak, you're in there right now.
Bro, don't you understand? When in doubt, listen, they only have one play. It's like, you remember when the Eagles won the Super Bowl, everybody's talking about the Philly Special? Like, in my neighborhood, there was a bar that literally changed its name to Sweeney's Philly Special Saloon because everybody's on the Philly Special. They keep running the Philly Special. And the Philly Special is Orange Man bad.
Yeah.
And as long as Orange Man is bad, and nothing else matters. But aren't you the president, right? Orange Man bad. Hey, and the rich don't pay their fair share. You're rich.
Yeah. They have 550,000 to $1.5 million boxes at the DNC. Who's paying for that?
The same corporate overlords and oligarchs who are benefiting from all these tax breaks that they keep talking about. They want Donald Trump to pay his fair share, blah, blah, skibbity bop. That's what they do. And they're going to continue to do it because all they got to do is put Kerry Washington up there with Tony Goldwyn and give y'all the scandal feels all over again. They're like, that's all they got. They got to do nothing.
Good old nostalgia.
Man, please. Because I'll tell you right now, Barack Obama, if this is 2008 and we're on Earth 3, in Earth 3, Barack Obama is married to Michelle, but Michelle happens to be Michelle Williams. And I ain't talking about the Destiny's Child Michelle Williams. I'm talking about the one that played Marilyn Monroe, the one that was on Dawson's Creek.
Yeah.
He would not have made it out of this. No, they'd be like, oh no, you need to stitch your ass in the Senate. How do you say? What is your?
Yeah, they wouldn't even got his name right.
They wouldn't got his name right at all. Oh, Kamala, she doing this, that, and third. She washes greens in the bathtub. And she puts bacon in the greens. Not the bacon fat. No, I put bacon in it. Did you see that clip?
Yes.
I'm not gonna lie. And who was the guy going?
Those greens.
Yes. I'm like
bathtub greens.
No.
I sure am hungry.
I ain't eating at Kamala's house. I'm sorry.
I watched the debate.
Sure.
In full, and the presidential debate.
Right.
The VP debate is not to talk about Vance cooked them. It was pretty bad. It was a blowout. He watched. We made him look silly. Right. But I watched the debate in full, and I left feeling like neither side did themselves any favors. To be totally honest. But then I jump around the news because I'm a data miner, so I want to get the view from everybody.
Everybody.
I watch CNN. I watch MSNBC. I watch Fox News. I watch, different people from the GOP, different people from the DNC responding to what happened at the debate. And they both somehow were victorious. Somehow, some way, they both won. Nobody lost.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, and we're claiming victory. How can both sides be so, like, obviously obtuse and dishonest consistently?
Because people only listen to the echo chambers that resonate with what they feel. And they don't have any objectivity at all. The other part of that is what's really sad for me was the fact that all of a sudden the rules weren't good enough. The same rules that they came up with when it was the Biden camp, right? They weren't good. So we want to be able to keep cutting him off and say, I'm speaking like she did with Mike Pence. Like that to me was insane. The other part of that is Donald Trump's ego got him whooped.
Yes.
That's it. And I don't think she won. I think Donald Trump beat himself.
Yeah, he didn't exhibit any like hubris or whatever the case may be.
And my whole thing with it is when you look at that debate, what drove me insane was she was completely inept. And so was he. Instead of saying, they're eating the dogs, what he should have said was, there was a young black woman I saw on TikTok, and that young black woman said that she was going to sell her food truck, and she worked so hard to get her food truck, but she had no choice but to sell it. And she was selling it to an illegal who got all these grants and whatnot in order to start a business. But why aren't we doing that for the young black people in America who are tax-paying citizens, who are good people? That doesn't make any sense to me. I created opportunity zones. You guys told me I was a racist. Like, get on that. When she starts talking about your rally, she's trying to goad you. Yeah. And that's the thing. Facts don't care how you feel about them.
Yeah. Facts don't have feelings.
Facts don't have feelings, but you're worried about the wrong thing. And I think that was the problem with that debate. They were both doing things. And then there's an argument to be made about how one of the moderators was an AKA. And there's also an argument to be made allegedly that those pearl earrings have been more substantial than ever before. And they are allegedly equipped with Bluetooth,
Yeah.
which would explain her ability to work off prompter, because when she ain't got a prompter, Ron Burgundy is more coherent than this chick.
The other day in what was that, in Michigan, when the prompter went out and she was
She's like,
32
32 days. As a, who gonna save me? from these
she
people?
reminded me in that moment, she was drowning. She reminded me of like Rick Ross on Every Day I'm Hustling. Young chick, she's 22.
She
22. She just kept rattling off.
She in room 222.
And I'm just like, yo, this is so bad. Like, I'm like, this is going in the public record forever. Like,
Forever.
Like how your inability to, number one, she's been in elected office for what, 30 years
30
now?
years.
You've been in elected office for 30 years. You've
Correct.
had to make many public, speeches for this, that, or the third.
Mm-hmm.
How is it that you get up here at your rally in front of your people and just short circuit like that? Like that is crazy to me. And that lends itself to the I don't feel like you're a good politician part.
Right. I think, and I don't know this because I'm not a psychologist, but I'm willing to bet she has debilitating social anxiety disorder, because she can't function in large crowds. Also, she can't function when she doesn't know what the questions are going to be.
Yeah.
She can't function if you throw her a curveball that she wasn't ready for, or you're not necessarily being friendly to her the whole time. What she did to the folks at the NABJ was
that's exactly where my mind went.
absolutely deplorable and disgusting. She was so disgusted when she was pressed by that young black woman, because we're supposed to uplift black women. And again, you didn't show up when Trump was there.
Yeah.
That'd have been your opportunity. And when you did show up, they gave you a bunch of softball questions, but asked you one or two hard questions. And
She short-circuited.
She short-circuited and then went, and then left. She didn't say anything to the crowd.
She dipped out.
She dipped. But you were with your people. I don't know black people who do that, especially when they're trying to get something from other black people. We are the nicest people in the world when we need each other. We're like, hey man, how you doing?
Hey,
How
bro.
your cousin Millie? You remember my cousin? Man, Millie, she makes the best pot of greens. She don't even use the bathtub. She use hops. She don't use bacon. How Millie doing? Listen, I can borrow like $20, bro. Like, she ain't even come with that energy. She was
Yeah.
like, I'm disgusted. I'm done. She is so afraid of real press that she was on her plane and JD Vance stopped and talked to the press corps. Like, yeah, I figured y'all needed somebody to talk to. Let me come talk to you. She ain't getting off this plane. I was like, in that moment, a star was born. I still don't think he was the right choice,
Yeah.
but he is making very strategic points in order to show people what she's doing. And the basement strategy works with Sleepy Joe, because Joe Biden's an old man. We get it. It was COVID. You can't hide behind that now. So
Yeah. She didn't talk to the media for 40 days and 40 nights.
correct.
Do you think that was kind of like the beginning of the end? Because we're gonna get into these polling numbers in a second,
Sure.
and they're bad, and they just updated the latest Poly Market one, and the margin is widening, literally by the day.
Of course it is.
So, do you think that was the beginning of the end? Her basically just abstaining from the media for so long, and not going out here and having a hallmark interview that she could point to and say, I answered everybody's questions in this.
Here's the thing, right? One of the things I do for my clients is extensive media training. The reason you need extensive media training is if you can't function when they throw you a curveball, you're done.
Yeah.
And then at that point, as we say around here, we see you coming.
Yeah.
You're done. You're going to get got. The problem with her is that her people I would fire everybody.
Yes.
Everybody needs to be fired and never work anywhere near Washington politics ever again, or PR or media or anything, because they should have had her in their whip snap. With all due respect, Madam Vice President, these are the things that they're going to throw at you. If you don't answer these questions, how do I expect you to take on Kim Jong-un? How do I expect you to
take on Putin?
To deal with Putin? How do I expect you to slow down the funding we're giving to Zelensky, right? You didn't even show up when Benjamin Netanyahu was addressing the Senate. You were at an AKA function that could have waited. You could have met with the AKAs at any given time.
Yeah.
You're the top AKA, less the president of the organization. You're their star right now. You are it. So why aren't you dealing in the things that matter for foreign policy? You're afraid of your own press, but you are going to be able to stop what's going on. You in office right now, what have you stopped?
Right.
root causes don't work no more. We can't say it's just I was just there for the root causes. I'm not the border czar, because we got the tapes. You were the border czar.
You were the border czar.
So that's what's going on with her, and it's not going to change. The nail in the coffin was that. It was like when, what was my man's name? Who said, just follow me around. Just follow me around. And then he followed him around. He found out he was smashing somebody other than his wife. Yeah. Like you asked for this.
You asked for this, yeah.
No, just shut up.
In the words of the Locks, they say you get what you asked for. You get it because you asked for it.
Bottom line. That's it. So yeah, no.
Lining yourself up is crazy. Lining yourself up is crazy.
It's Daffy Duck. You remember when it'd be Daffy Duck, Elmer Fudd, and Bugs Bunny, and it'd be like duck season, rabbit season, duck season, rabbit season, and Bugs Bunny would be like rabbit season. I say it's duck season, Elmer Fudd, and I demand that you fire him. Pow! He gets hit in the face. He's like, you're despicable. Like it's his beak blown open to the back. That's what this is, man. It's the beak blown to the back. I think she's going to win the popular vote, but I think Trump is going to win the swing states, and he's going to get to 270.
It says that, all right, so from, right now, it says that according to Polymarket, Smarkets, 538, Betfair, and a couple more voting indicators that are taking bets, they're indicating that Trump is going to win. The latest Polymarket numbers came out 5 minutes before we sat down, and he's taken his largest lead yet, which says that they have him right now winning 57.7% of the Electoral College, and her at 42.2. Just 3 days ago, like Friday, it was at like 54 and some change and 45 and some change, whatever the case may be. So it's widening. So he's plus 2.5% since the last vote. She's down 2.3%. And the margin of error is, still 0.02 or the % or whatever the case may be.
Right.
With all of this in mind, man.
Sure.
What do you forecast for where we're headed November 5th? And what degree of certainty can you assign to your prediction?
Wow. I'm not one to make predictions in a political environment where things are changing because people are manipulating certain things. I will be shocked if Donald Trump loses both the popular vote and the Electoral College, because I think everything that they're doing to him is showing how jacked up this is. Right? Regardless of how you feel about the man morally, because morally he's reprehensible, fine, great. Who isn't? Because Bill Clinton was morally reprehensible, but not only that, when they were impeaching Bill Clinton, Newt Gingrich was having freak-offs to make Diddy blush. Okay? Allegedly. So
Clinton caught the neck in the Oval Office.
He really did.
He's a savage.
It was the Oral Office.
From a staffer. Peeked his head on that. He said, who's still in here?
Hey, come here, little Monica. Let me show you something.
Hillary ain't hit this head in a long time. Somebody got to come talk to me.
Come and talk to me. No.
Just had a tough phone exchange with Saddam. Came in there.
This is crazy. Right.
Got a release, man.
Yeah, but my whole thing is, I honestly don't think there's any way that she wins decisively, because white women ain't gonna go for it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, the numbers came out today. They're saying that it's starting to look like black women ain't going for it neither. Because
it's pandering and it's disrespectful, right? I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be funny, but as a business coach and as a serial entrepreneur, the majority of the businesses that I co-own or I'm partnered with that are functioning well are owned by black women.
Yeah.
Without question. The majority of my executive staff are black women. Black women are not dumb. Now, there's a bunch of giggle boxes that went over to Circuit City and got themselves some podcast equipment. And I know Circuit City's been closed for 20 years. But you get my point.
H.H. Greg.
Right? They over there getting the Best Buy bundle. They on Amazon getting the podcast pack. And they sitting there with their tits up to here talking about, hey, this is the one. No. They're starting to see that this is something that is absolutely so divisive and so disrespectful, because she has not shown up for us, but now she's coming. And while it would be cool to have a black woman in the White House, if in fact she is black, and whatever you believe is whatever you believe, if they wanted that, they would have done that in 2020. That's it. And you're starting to see like this is only a hustle, because when it comes down to it, what are you really going to give us other than symbolism? And then which accent are you going to talk to us in?
Right. Right now, and this is CNN. This is
So this ain't Fox News.
This ain't Fox News. This ain't the Young Turks. This ain't The Black Diaspora News, which has a very right of center slant on there.
Truly.
I had no idea. That joint is like, and that's a big channel, 1.48 million subs. They're very right of center. Democrats' presidential margin on black women. Obama, November 2012, 93 points. Hillary Clinton, November 2016, 93 points. Biden, November 2020, 85 points. Harris, plus 71 points. If her margin sticks, it would be the lowest since 1960. Polling data for Democrats with Democratic candidates with black women.
Yeah.
The lowest since 1960. And the black male numbers are even worse. They're abysmal. So I'm gonna give you black men overall, and I'm gonna give you the segmentation of 18 to 44 millennials and Gen Z. Obama, November 2012, 81 points. Hillary, 63 points. Biden, 53 points. So we already see it's falling off. It's
already been a slant.
Kamala Harris, 41. Black men overall. Barry O, 85. Hillary Clinton, 71. Byron, 69. Harris, 54. So even from his historic low, she's even lower than that by 15 percentage points right now.
Because you can't beat the math. Again, before they gave her the prop and spin treatment, they propped her up and then they started spinning all her faults.
Yeah.
She was the lowest polling vice president in modern recorded history.
She didn't even nothing against the woman.
No.
Nothing against her at all.
God bless
I'm not
her.
even getting into the identity politics part of it. As y'all notice, we haven't mentioned that one time.
That's why I said if she isn't, whatever you believe is whatever you believe. I don't care.
We haven't mentioned that. But just objectively looking at this for what it is, she didn't make the final four candidates in 2020. So how do you she
got blown out in the first round.
She got blown out in the first round. USA versus Redeem Team versus Angola. She lost by 68 points. She got crushed. So how do you turn around and get blown out in 2020 with a field of candidates, a full field of candidates, to go through the full Democratic primary and then through the DNC and all of that and have a real candidate selected, which ended up being Joe Biden. Not to mention, she called him a seething racist.
Yeah.
So that means that if you are a black woman, you put your political aspirations above your race and your black nationality, which is also a problem.
Wait, hold on. Because she went, Joe, we
did it.
Joe.
So if I believe somebody's a racist or a white nationalist, it ain't nothing that they can get me to do to come to their side and suddenly change my mind. What changes in 4 months? That all of a sudden he's not a seething racist anymore.
The heartbeat away from the presidency and all the power that comes with it.
So you put your career and your political aspirations against your black nationalism. Correct. That's problematic.
Of course it is.
So how do you turn around, get blown out in 20 with a full field of candidates and the full democratic process playing itself out, and then turn around? I'm not a poli-sci major.
No.
I don't work in the White House.
Not at all.
I'm not a correspondent for CNN.
Not.
And I've been saying since October of 2022, Joe Biden can't win. If it's him versus Trump part 2, he can't win. No. So how do I know that as a casual observer of this, just somebody keeping up with the news, and then it takes all the way till July of 24 for them to finally pull the plug on this shit as the numbers just continue to just go down. And then the replacement is the person that got blown out by 68 points in 2020.
Two things. The first thing is Joe Biden was just fine. And everybody thought he was going to cruise until he got into that debate. And Trump said, I didn't hear what he said. I don't even think he knew what he said. I don't know. They're eating the dogs. No, I'm mixing it. But that's point number one. Once that debate performance is going to be said, I beat Medicare. Wait, what? Joe? The lights are on, but you're not home. The second thing, my favorite part of this whole situation is people have I'm going to say this again. Hi, America. People have very short attention spans. See, they said on CNN, they said on MSNBC that if Kamala Harris is not on this ticket, specifically either at the top of the ticket or on the ticket itself, there's about 90 to 120 million dollars in donations that don't want Biden on this ticket, and they can't use that money because this is not the original ticket.
Yeah.
So they had no choice but to run her. But if we're going to run her, what we're going to do is prop her up. Have you ever seen Rocky Balboa? And I'm being specific when I say
Yeah, Rocky Balboa.
which is Rocky 6, technically.
Yeah.
Right? Well, Duke Sr. says to him, listen, your knees are shot, so you can't run. Right? We got to work on everything we could possibly work on. Your back and you're old. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to put on some hard packing muscle so that when you hit him, his ancestors will feel it. What they did not do was give her the weights to lift up and put down to build the muscle in order to hit Trump so hard that his ancestors will feel it. She did hit him in the jaw a couple times. You got to give it to her.
No,
she's not dumb. This woman is not dumb. This is a very, very savvy woman.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't care about her personal history or her past or how she got positions or any of that. She's a very savvy woman.
Real quick, is she savvy and intelligent, or is she savvy over intelligence?
I think she's savvy over intelligence because there's different types of intelligence.
Exactly. That's why I asked.
And I think that she was really good when she was a senator. I was a huge fan. I was like, oh, she's giving them. She's doing what the girl you interviewed, I can never call her name when I know.
Oh, Jasmine Crockett.
Jasmine Crockett. When she said bad built beach, whatever it was, big back, butch body, I was like, cool.
She as the people in the community say, she dressed her down.
She dressed her down. You know, she read her for filth. But the thing of it is, on that level, that's real cool.
Yeah.
That's a cool soundbite. I don't know how well that plays in the Oval.
It doesn't play.
Thank you.
It doesn't play.
But what she did in the Senate was cool. And my whole thing with that is, when you know that somebody's not the best candidate, like, so for example, I produced a talent who shall remain nameless. If you know my resume, there's been quite a few who could fit this bill. And that talent wasn't exactly the best reader when it came to saying things, reading liners or things of that nature. So I would work around that.
I have a funny reader story that I'll give you when you finish.
And when I say he's not a good reader, I mean, if I had to pick somebody to beat 50 Cent in a reading contest, I'm taking Floyd Mayweather over this unnamed talent, right? So I put things in place. I'm like, hey person, say this, and I hit the record button, or say this.
So you're basically feeding them lines.
And then I would create donuts, meaning put them here, put them there, beginning and close out, and keep it moving, because they don't have the strength to read an entire liner.
Yeah.
Right? They didn't do that for her. They tried to prop her up. They tried to use the basement strategy. That does not work, because you can't be all huff and puff and in your face and then just fall back. And if it's, we don't have a lot of time to stand there, that's when you go hard in the press.
Yeah.
When I got a book to push, I'm everywhere. I'm Breakfast Club. I'm calling favors. I'm doing every possible show because I want y'all to get this book.
Yeah.
She's applying for the highest position on planet Earth.
Yes.
You know, outside of being a Bilderberger.
Yeah.
Right? So my whole thing is, if you can't hold up to any scrutiny and you can't answer tough questions, I can't trust you with your finger on the button. Why am I going to give you the football? Why am I going to give you the power to drop nukes?
Right.
So, yeah, that's where they lost this. If they've lost it. Yeah. Because you never, I mean, they're doing amazing.
You never know. Today,
bro.
The text messages started rolling out about early voting, and I'm like, here we go. I'm like, yo, that's how we got fucked around last time. I'm like, yo, this early voting, this mail ballots and all of that, because, you know, Trump was ahead in Georgia until he wasn't. Then all of a sudden, the mail-in ballots showed up, and they were overwhelmingly Democrat.
Right.
Overwhelmingly. He had a sizable lead, and then all of a sudden, he lost by 4 votes or whatever the case may be. And I'm just like,
I'm going to need y'all to find 2,000 votes someplace, because this ain't making no sense.
So, yeah, so like you said, polling data aside, this is still very much an open race.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's
anybody
not over till it's over.
And not to mention, they're doing amazing things with voting machines these days. You know, and when you control the mail, I'm just.
It's interesting.
It is.
I want to move on.
Sure.
I think we've hammered home enough election talk.
Sure.
Following a dual raid of his properties in Miami and LA back in March, Puffy was now formally indicted and arrested in the Southern District of New York. I make sure to specify where, because that's the most prestigious U.S. Attorney's Office in the United States of America, they don't really make many mistakes.
They don't.
When it's U.S. When it's the Southern District of New York, you don't really make a lot of mistakes. So he was indicted formally on September 19th of charges of running a criminal enterprise that included counts of sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, racketeering, and transportation to engage in prostitution. The indictment window on this case goes back to 2008 to present. Give me your thoughts on when you found out he was first arrested and what these charges were.
My first thoughts were he pissed the wrong people off because everybody knew he was doing this.
Yeah.
They knew where he learned it from too. And again, I told you this. I want somebody to go back and watch this. Just go to the tape.
Yeah.
You know, when I was in reality television, I tell people just go to the tape. You saw what I said.
Yeah.
You don't just disappear for 3 days and then all of a sudden you're getting a multi-million-dollar distribution deal. Those things just don't happen. Maybe allegedly on Earth 3, you might have had a freak off for 3 days with somebody named Carl Davis. And allegedly. But my whole thing is you can't be surprised. The other part of that is if you got all these cameras, like, do you realize that if you go back and you run this, I feel like Kanye West isn't Kanye West. I feel like he's M. Night Shyamalan.
Yeah.
And he's giving you the end of the movie. And he told y'all on Drink Chance.
And because he doesn't necessarily give you the plot points,
right,
you don't understand it.
This is the rantings of a madman. No, he's telling you. First of all, the son of a college professor is anything but mad.
Yeah.
I understand that man is not slow. He knows exactly what he was saying. And you can't tell me. And I said, go run the tape. I said, when they started raiding and started doing all this other stuff, they weren't there to get evidence against him. They were there to get all the things that all the political people...
They were playing cleanup.
Yeah, playing cleanup. I need you to go on the internet and look, AJ Calloway, right? As in AJ and Free from 106 and Park. At the time, I think he was working on Extra Access Hollywood, one of them shows. And he was talking to John Legend and Chrissy Teigen. And he asked Chrissy Teigen, well, what's one of the weirdest, freakiest things you ever done? And she said, the Obama thing. And to make a baby-face, old man face R&B high yellow singer, no disrespect to the light skins, look like he had seen a ghost. He went pale and he was like, and she was like, oh, I'm in trouble now.
She said the quiet part out loud.
She said the quiet part out loud because everybody knows there's a notorious Diddy party that he threw for Obama. And what happened at the Diddy after party, I don't know. There's a lot of people who did a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? And people got to understand, I know plenty of people who've been to Diddy parties, including myself. I've never been to a Diddy after dark. I haven't. I'm not going to lie to you. But I mean...
Went to the regular party.
I went to the regular party. White parties was lit. When I moved to the South, the one thing I took with me was denim and diamonds and white parties because Fayetteville, North Carolina hadn't seen no stuff like that. And I was like, yo, I'm about to rack up. But no, to me, that's not a good time. And then... you look at what happens when, okay, so I'm going to say the quiet part out. Okay, great. Hi, America. I don't care if you have $1 billion or not. There's certain things that you can never get away with as long as you're going to be in these yet to be United States. And one of them is you're not going to go to a major liquor distributor and call them racist out loud and not expect any type of recompense because they got something on you. Even if you think you clean, they got something on you. There are people right now who... a couple of years ago, we're talking about how great Diddy parties were, who are just conspicuously silent. Some of the greatest goats on the face of the planet have been conspicuously silent. And I don't know how that happens, but I mean, there's some people right now. So it's not about, I predict that if Puff makes it to May, when his trial is set, it's going to be a miracle.
Yeah,
I think you're looking at an Aaron Hernandez. I think you're looking at a Jeffrey Epstein type of situation.
All the signs are there.
Oh, yeah.
When they revoke, sorry, I had to worry about my apology. When they revoke your $48 million bail package on 2 paid off homes, and they're like, nah, sit your ass down. And then you get another emergency bail hearing the next day, and you like, yeah, no, sit your ass down. Yeah. And they're resolute in holding on to you.
Yes.
They have bigger plans for you.
Oh yeah. No.
And that either means that you're going to tell.
Oh yeah.
You're going to tell some shit. Oh yeah. Which Kanye told us at the end of the movie. Fuck out of here, Diddy. You were fed. Stop fucking texting me, nigga. Fuck you.
You and Meek Mills.
Y'all bitch ass niggas stop texting me. I'm not scared of y'all. He's what he say. The bitch ass nigga is the freedom fighter now. So they got plans for him one way or another, which is either full cooperation, or my theory is they're trying to hold on to him long enough to get some sort of conviction in that Keefe D. Tupac case to throw the conspiracy to commit murder on him for the murder for hire. So that now we really clean you up and you're done for life. Yeah. And somebody that is in and around the entertainment industry told my cousin who was here earlier, he said the reason why the feds rejected the bail package on property is because the property is in the chain of custody of the case. Yeah. So if you're guilty, we getting the property anyway. So I don't want the property cross collateralized for bail. No. I want that free and clear so that when we put all these charges out and we prove that you use these homes for sex trafficking, we seize all of this. Fruit from the poisonous tree. We seize all of this shit. Yeah. And I said, damn, that's some dastardly shit. But here's the thing: the feds play different type of games.
Of course, and they don't like to lose.
They don't lose. In the Southern District of New York, in particular,
98%.
They don't lose.
No,
they might be 99.5 out of that office.
Right.
They don't play. And for anybody crying racism, go watch that press conference when that black man got up there, who's the U.S. attorney for the Southern District of New York, and started pointing fingers at Diddy and talking about these freak offs and all that. This is not racism. This is your time is up for whatever reason. That will reveal itself at a later time of why his time is up.
Every 30 years they replace them.
Yes.
Because 30 plus years ago when they got rid of Andre Harrell, allegedly. This is just, we're going into the conspiracy. Put on your tinfoil koofies.
Conspiracy corner.
Here we go. All right, so am I going here, Dan? Where are we going? Right. Okay, so look, imagine an alternate universe, not this one, but an alternate universe where every 30 years the people in power who look like this and don't look like this have somebody who looks like this in order to do the bidding for the people who look like this. Every 30 years, one of those people outgrows their usefulness. Right? And so they replace those people. Let's just say it's Andre Harrell. And let's just say Andre Harrell was going to get replaced and they were going to put a young Sean Combs at the head of Uptown Records, but he gets fired by Andre Harrell before they can make that happen. So then what do? Well, they'll go ahead and they'll put him in charge of his own situation and just nullify this dude. No, you can go run Motown and do some other stuff. It doesn't matter. This whole thing's going away. Right? Then after that, you have all of these things and you become the guy. You become the darling. Everybody loves you. You're the greatest. You're the hit maker, the Svengali. You're getting samples clear. Can't nobody else clear. You're literally just saying, I'm going to just take this record because my man got killed and I'm going to make a record with Sting and the Police. And Sting like, oh yeah, make the record. You're going to pay me all the royalties, but I'm going to show up at MTV and sing for you. There are all these things that happen under your watch and nobody bats an eye. Because you have access to absolutely everybody in power. And I've said this before. Harry Houdini worked for the federal government. There are a bunch of people who were used as spies and as snitches and people who sat by the door in order to get certain information and move freely throughout the world.
Yeah, shit, somebody like Jimmy Hinchman was allowed to fucking kill whoever he wanted until he wasn't. Until he killed the wrong person, and then they put all the back murder charges on him and locked his ass up. And he was a federal informant for 30 years. They was like, somebody from the FBI went on the record and said, Jimmy was one of our greatest informants, one of our greatest assets that we had. He informed on a lot of shit that people have no idea about.
Oh, yes. So that's the thing. So when you're that close and you've got dirt on absolutely everybody, y'all worrying about the 1,000 bottles of baby oil, but you're not worried about the 10,000 tapes. Yeah. So you're not keeping up. So now that he's outgrown his usefulness, because when the last time he put out a hit?
He hasn't.
Thank you.
He can't hear a hit. He tried to force his last hit on us and it didn't work. He used every show at Revolt to break that record with Bryson Tiller, which at the point when it came out was already 4 years old because people I know in the music industry had that record and it got shopped around. Mm-hmm. Puffy ended up with it, hitched his career to it, and it still didn't break.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, you should have known it was over with when he tried to sit up there and give you French Montana.
Well, to his credit, as terrible as French is, he's sold millions of records.
Absolutely, but I'm just saying the quality. Biggie, Total, 112, Sean, right? And again, statistically, Puff has missed more than he's hit.
Oh, absolutely.
But again, we're in an alternate universe here. Now that he's outgrown his usefulness, It's time to pull the trigger. That's what happens. You get called. You're Eddie Barzoom. Somebody will catch that reference later. So yeah, I'm not surprised by any of this. I knew it was coming. I knew it was only a matter of time. And my anger with Puff has more to do with the fact that his stupid behind thought that he was just going to ride this out. When Cassie said, allegedly, that there's going to be a book, and you can buy this book right now for $30 million. It goes away, no name, no blame. He was like, nah, and then they filed the charges. And people was like, well, Cassie was triggered by everything that was said. No. Cassie was activated.
Yeah.
People just don't, you know what I'm saying? And y'all, oh, well, she was so young, this, that, and that. Was she that young when she was with Ryan Leslie, or was she younger? Okay, never mind. So my whole thing is, at some point, if we're going to talk about all of it, let's talk about all of it.
Yeah, we got to talk about all of it. We got to hash this shit out.
So if we understand that, why in the world are you doing, this is where your ego gets in the way. You don't start singing Elton John, I'm still standing better than I ever. No. Shh. You book yourself a flight and you go to whatever part of Indonesia Russell Simmons is in, and you start working on your root chakras, homeboy.
You help him build the rest of the hotel because Kimura stole the hotel money, so the hotel only 3 levels instead of 15.
Right.
So you go over there and finish that project, and become the wealthiest man in Indonesia.
Right. Even that, like even before all this stuff came, I'm upset at Puff that he didn't see what they did to R. Kelly and didn't think, you know what, maybe.
You know what pissed me off about all of it? More than anything, is the knowing what happened with R. Kelly, and that his downfall was him keeping the tapes
at his house.
At his house. Why the fuck did you keep the tapes at your house?
And then
that shit was mind blowing to me. Like, yo,
that,
you so smart, you stupid. And once I found that out, I knew he was a drug addict.
Yeah. See, one thing that I will say, if I have, you know how I can talk freely about certain people, and you've never heard anybody say that I was wrong or I was lying or I was making it up?
Yeah.
Because I know where the bones are buried.
Right.
And if something were to happen to me, there are about 5 or 6 people who don't even know each other, who have copies.
Yeah.
And it's going to come out, and then it's over for you. So if I understand it on my low level, and again, I'm cool where I am. I'm an entrepreneur. I don't want to be famous. I tried that. I'm cool. It's not a good look for me.
Fame is fleeting, but it's a motherfucker.
Nah, bro, I'm cool. I just want to be impactful. But when you're doing, like, you didn't take yourself to a non-extradition country and just chill. Phil Spector. He ain't been in this country in your lifetime. Well, no, he was like after like 92.
He was out.
He was out. It was like between 92 and 94, like right around the OJ, like right before he was.
Peace.
And he ain't been back since. Nobody got. Y'all need to call Eric Snowden. Eric Snowden can get somebody go get Eric Snowden and get your puffy on. But yeah, man, it's a tragedy. There's a whole lot more people. I think people are going to be shocked with the people who have been there and have done things and have had things covered up or have been bought up. And then I also find it really telling. Why in the world? I'm sorry, we live in America, do we not? Mm-hmm. Black people can't really get away with much, especially criminal. You blow up my car, homeboy, I'm talking to everybody, day and night. I'm going to kick your ass and have a fight, right?
And when the Cassie complaint came out, when they filed the joint or whatever, you just see Kid Cudi like silently like, that shit happened. Like,
yeah, but again, there are people in this world who are so scared, and that's another problem with black people overall.
Yeah.
We don't want to die. We too afraid to die for a cause, and we're too afraid to stand up. Like a lot of these dudes are soft soy boys who don't have no balls. And so they allow things like that to happen. I wish a dude who was famous for shiny suits and dancing in the videos looking at pastors' behinds was threatening me. Are you serious? Your daddy was a gangster.
Yeah. Your
mama was a ride or die. You, on the other hand, homeboy, nah. You're a party promoter. You don't even know how to operate a board. Like, let's stop playing. You don't play no instruments, no nothing. If it wasn't for Stevie J and D-Dot and the rest of
Nasheem Myrick.
Right. If it wasn't for the hit, man, come on, bro. Stop it. I'm gonna need you to go home. I'm gonna stop. You threatening somebody? The Pink Panther in shiny suits is threatening people?
Was the greatest trick Puff ever pulled was convincing people that he and Suge Knight were not the same person.
Of course.
Because in actuality, Suge led with brute force, with aggression, with you gonna drink this piss, you gonna get hung over this balcony. And Puffy was in secret doing the same exact shit.
Sure, just ask Wale.
Just ask Wale, and now it's all coming out because it's an avalanche now. Because him being locked up with no bail, people feel safe to tell their stories and to let what's going on go out. But somebody knew that this shit was happening while it was happening in real time.
Absolutely.
And they're just as guilty as Puff is.
Absolutely.
Because if you see something, say something.
Right, but even with that, like, they got R. Kelly on racketeering, but who else had the racket? Because R. Kelly is not a record company exec.
He won remedial ass songwriting illiterate nigga from Chicago.
Right, he's a musical genius, but he's not capable of pulling together a criminal empire.
The craziest part is, and I talked about this on Don't Call Me White Girl show. I said, it made me feel bad, but it made me feel bad because I didn't feel bad when I saw the latest installment of Surviving R. Kelly, and I'm seeing like 44-year-old women on there. I'm like, oh, you bitches are just stupid. Like, this isn't about being a pedo or, a molester or none of that. Y'all are just stupid, and y'all were engaging in idolatry, and he took advantage of you. Yeah. But you're a grown ass woman with agency. You should be able to get up and leave whenever you want. And they're like, he wouldn't let me leave the house. Well, what was stopping you? Did your legs not work? Like, what stopped you from getting up and departing from this residence?
The thing of it is, people talk all that, and I'm really curious, like, again, did you hear about what his ex-wife said?
Which time?
Yeah, depending on which.
Because now his daughter is saying that he molested her.
So
because there's like a groundswell about him about to come up for a pill or whatever, and now the daughter is like, no, add that on the fire. He's a child molester too.
When you and your mama up for a reality show. And again, I don't know if it's true or not, but I find the timing very suspicious. And as a father of daughters, right, and also as a person that had his innocence taken by an adult woman, unprovoked, unwanted, unwarranted. I didn't have a choice in it. I take real offense for the idea that I would dance to a man's music if my daughter was assaulted by that man, and that daughter was the father of my children. Like, the math ain't mathing on that. Yeah,
there's a lot of incongruencies in a lot of this stuff.
But yeah, the Puffy thing don't surprise me. I think you ain't seen nothing yet. It's about to be crazy.
So in the event that you're correct, and these charges are proven true, these mountains of civil lawsuits stick also, and they find him guilty and leave him financially inept, what does that mean for the rest of hip hop? Because I'm positive he wasn't the only freak. He wasn't at the parties by himself.
No, see, being a freak isn't the crime. The crime is locking doors. The crime is making people take IVs. The crime is making people take drugs. The crime is holding people against their will. The crime is firebombing people's cars. Yeah. The crime is using your corporate influence and your employees under threat of job loss to take a person from one place to another. The crime is having your girlfriend go out and get male sex workers and hire male sex workers, because prostitution outside of the Moonlight Bunny Ranch in Las Vegas is still illegal. Those are the crimes. Being a freak ain't a crime. Cheating on your spouse or cheating on your girlfriend or your boyfriend or whatever.
It's in poor taste.
It's horrible and it's
But it ain't
morally
a crime.
reprehensible, but you can't convict somebody of that.
Yeah.
I can convict you if you're literally moving people state to state against their will.
So why are people missing that? Why are the untalented tenth of the world, the Boosies and such of the world, that's like, y'all just trying to take a black man down? Like, why are they missing that part of the criminal complaint and just focusing on the, man, everybody done had a freak off or a threesome or whatever, and even to the point where other entertainers are like, no nigga, all of us didn't. like let's not paint everybody with this broad brush.
I think two things can be true at the same time, but then again, I don't get my psychological analysis, I don't get my intelligence doses from Boosie and those who still go on Vlad TV to break down intelligent topics of the day. Just call me a rebel. I want to be I'll never forget, I interviewed Flo Rida one time, and I asked him, what's the last book you read? I don't really read books.
Ain't that reading thing?
I ain't doing
that.
Ain't
really,
thing. I don't do that.
Can't really get down.
I read magazines. I was like, I got it on tape, so I'm not lying.
Yeah, do Jet magazine count? I read The Beauty of the Week. She had a nice write-up, 4 paragraphs.
4 to stop. But yeah, no, bro. Like that's where we are. We keep putting people who are inept in positions of power. Of course, they're going to miss it. Most people miss that you don't live in a democracy.
Yeah.
So why would you expect them to keep up with the nuts and bolts of a case?
Live in a democratic republic.
Constitutional republic.
Constitutional republic, right. Yeah.
Because the founding fathers didn't want a majority rule.
Yeah, it's like, y'all can go out and vote, but we got this other thing.
We got this other thing. We're going to make this thing nice.
We're going to make this nice and foolproof.
Yeah, we're going to fix this. We're going to be here for a while. But we're going to give you the Second Amendment because y'all need to keep up against tyranny when we long gone. Got him. So, yeah.
Where do people like let's call them Delive Cavis and Andre Arell fall into this whole this madness? What responsibility do they bear for potentially turning him into the monster that he became?
Well, I will say this: you can't divorce the fruit of a thing from the root of a thing, right?
That's a bar.
So, in other words, like you're getting mad at the product. Puffy is the product, but you're not getting mad at the person that planted the seed, who nurtured the tree, that gave it the right sunlight, right exposure, the whole nine, right nutrients, all that stuff, and created that. Puffy was given shady deals because he learned how to give shady deals from Clive Davis.
Yeah.
He learned how to do all those things. Clive Davis is responsible for, and these are things that are proven fact in documentaries that have absolutely nothing to do with. He's responsible for Milli Vanilli. That entire hoax was Clive Davis. He oversaw that, knew it was happening. They got him on tape. So I'm like, we're just gonna keep it going. That's one. Barry White famously warned Luther Vandross not to do anything with Clive Davis because Clive Davis was a dangerous man and it's not going to work out well for you. And we all see how that ended up. Clive Davis, while Whitney Houston's body was still in the hotel, threw his Grammy party. Clive Davis literally took a Whitney Houston who had throat issues and her instrument had been damaged and forced her to do one more album. Clive Davis, has continuously done these things and nobody's batted an eye. And then all of a sudden, well, we know now that Clive Davis is bi. And he
wrote
bi.
about it in his book. In his sexual history, there's a whole trajectory of just one day he just woke up and decided he liked men after being married for 20 some odd years or whatever the case may be. And a switch just flipped one day. And it's like that trajectory lines up with some of the things that Sean Combs is being accused of.
Yeah, again, you don't just disappear for 3 days when you're the most sought after executive producer of the early 90s and can't nobody find you. And all of a sudden you just show up with, Bad Boy. The other part of that is, could it be, maybe, just maybe, Clive Davis has decided that I got enough money now that I can come out, you can't do anything about it because you can't touch me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? This is a man that is responsible for Janis Joplin and Puffy. Like, just the spectrum.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So when you learn under that particular learning tree, that's a problem. When we talk about the state of hip hop, like, who won the East Coast West Coast beef? Jimmy Iovine.
The media industrial complex.
Jimmy Iovine. Interscope at one point had Bad Boy and Death Row.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, you got to look at the whole thing, but we don't pay attention to them because this man is bad. He's bad now. Yeah. Okay, cool. So it's just like, we'll talk about what a threat Bill Cosby is because Bill Cosby, allegedly wanted to buy NBC, blah, blah, skibbity bop. But we won't talk about the fact that I worked for NBC Universal. You can't get a paperclip in that building without somebody authorizing it.
Yeah.
So explain to me how Matt Lauer had a James Bond supervillain desk that had a button on the deck and close the door, lock it, turn the shades down, and don't nobody say nothing. Okay, right?
Yeah, because it was systemic. That's why.
Right. You just got that much. You're the host of the Today Show. Hosts come a dime a dozen, Bucko. Like, come on, man. Stop playing with me. See, it's only criminal to the point where they're going to do something serious when it's black people. Because, ain't they slowly but surely driving Weinstein charges here and there?
Well, I think he's already cooked for like a dub. Like, he's done with the dub or whatever the case may be. And they basically, defaced all of his companies and all of that shit. So he's pretty much, locked into where he's going to be. But yeah, no, they're definitely maneuvering some, some stuff around. I think that's enough on the Puffy point.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
But aside from that, I think I want to put a pin in everything here. This will probably be like the last topic, unless you got something else that we need to explore. But objectively, as a semi-journalist myself, I feel like we're seeing the last shred of journalism die off.
Of course.
Where, web traffic and clicks have become, the most important part of, how do we discern if we interview somebody or not, as opposed to like properly vetting who we have and all of that on the show, on our platform. To that point, Jaguar Wright recently made it to Piers Morgan Uncensored on the BBC, which for those of you that don't know is the London equivalent of CNN.
Yeah.
They're a huge multinational corporation.
Huge.
What did you think? What did you make of her appearance on the show? And did it have like a bigger significance to the media landscape going forward?
I find it very telling that nobody in America outside of podcasts are giving Jag an audience.
Okay, elaborate.
Because I can tell you from my own personal experience in the media that they will love you, they will hosanna you, they'll give you the palm leaves, and then the next day they'll say crucify him, and they'll do the whole you're difficult to work with, they'll say you're crazy, you're horrible, blah 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 blah. I wasn't horrible when I was putting up record numbers for you. I was just horrible when I said you promised me this amount of money, you promised me these things, and all of a sudden it's a problem. People act like Jaguar Wright did not make that MTV Unplugged Jay-Z album everything that it was.
Absolutely.
Her and the Roots made that record. It's a classic. So let's not act like this woman isn't talented, but let's not also act like she didn't get chewed up and spit out by the industry. I think the fact that that interview happened was a amazing piece of insight for Piers Morgan, who, of course, he's like, Piers Morgan to me is like the fox saying, you know what? Don't worry, folks. I'm in charge of the hen house. It's fine. It's okay. Jag, go. Because he's going to get ratings. He's always been that guy. Go back to the first season of America's Got Talent. I think that a lot of what Jaguar says is true. I do. Not everything. Some of it I think is a little far-fetched and I can't really vouch for. But there's some things that she has said that I'm like, yep.
And for me, that's the problem.
Right.
Where you can't be, me and Matt have a saying, you can't be a little bit of a liar. Same way you can't be a little bit pregnant. Yeah, like you can't be a little bit of a liar. So if you're lying about this and only you know you're lying, but I, on the outside looking in, can discern that you're lying.
Right.
Based off the things that you're saying, because you can substantiate these other things, but you can't substantiate this. But you're still saying it. You're still spreading this message. You're still ringing this bell.
Right.
That's problematic because even though you might be 88% truthful. Sure. But that 12% where you're blatantly lying because of a vendetta or whatever the reason may be, it invalidates the other 88%. So you end up looking like a crazy cat lady, even though 88% is like Hall of Fame level. Like if you hit 88 out of every time, 100 times you went up to bat, you would be the greatest baseball player of all time.
Right, you're in the Hall of Fame automatically.
You're in the Hall of Fame automatically, year one. You do 1 year at that type of rate, you're going to Hall of Fame.
Yeah, and I mean, 300 batting average gets you there. But the thing that I think everybody is missing isn't so much what Jaguar Wright said or didn't say. It's the fact that all of a sudden, now, there's cease and desist happening, there's phone calls being made.
Alex Spiro said it wasn't a cease and desist, it was an ultimatum. I told them, you're going to edit this interview, take this out because it's patently false, and issue an apology or heads are going to roll. And Alex Spiros, by no short of the imagination, is the most powerful attorney in the United States of America. Probably Earth. But definitely the United States.
Definitely in America, but I'm willing to say Earth and probably throughout the known multiverse, but another conversation for another day. I think for me, this is why that's not going to play well in the next 6 to 10 months.
Okay.
Things are going to come out. And when things come out, you're going to begin to see what happens. All of a sudden, and again, I'm putting my tinfoil do-rag on here. All of a sudden, Dame Dash ain't going to seem so crazy.
Yeah, I don't think Dame's crazy at all, for the record.
All of a sudden, there's a lot of people who are going to be like, hey, this person and this person have done this to throttle my career. Because if y'all think this stops at Puff, and if you think that Jaguar is kind of like, you know how people will fire a warning shot? Like bust out your window,
yeah.
But they're not really trying to kill you. They're just trying to let you know that I can.
Yeah, you can be touched.
You can be touched. I think that that's going to happen because again, when you outgrow your usefulness, and then when you start doing deals where you say, "Hey, I'm done with this. I'm going," and then all of a sudden you pop back up, and there's all these little clauses about you can't use the word ROC and you can't do this, and like. When you sign to a record label and the CEO of that record label is one of the biggest artists in the world, and I can go for any artist, whether that's Eminem, Lil Wayne, Jay-Z, whomever, Nelly, it don't work. Ask the Saint Lunatics, ask D12.
Well, Wayne is the one example where it did work.
Where it did work, absolutely.
But it kind of worked because of his creativity, but the business got so big that he became a casualty of the success of what he created.
Correct.
Because Cash Money's business ethic was, I can only pay about 2 motherfuckers at a time. Like, we ain't raping everybody, but like...
All of y'all ain't
getting paid. Yeah. So it's like, God forbid the third artist pop off. Like it's a little weird now.
We got Drake, we got Nicki. Lloyd, we gonna pay you for that hook. Because you did a better job than Omarion. But that's where it stops. That's
where it stops. And that's basically what happened because Baby and Slim got to get paid. So if it's 100% of the pie, we already got half off rip. Mm-hmm. So I can only afford to pay 2.
Yeah.
So whatever the 2 top performing is, that's who's getting paid, Playboy. I can't do it.
I can't do it, Playboy.
Wayne shit got so bad that Universal stepped in and said, fuck it. We'll pay him. We'll pay him. And we'll give him his masters and his publishing back from day one. Mm-hmm. But you're out.
Yeah.
Not even no passive participation. Mm-hmm. You are out. Because if we got to foot the bill, we got to come up with $100 million for this nigga.
Yeah. Immediately.
We had $100 million is the number.
That's the number.
And then because Lucien and all of the parties that be from Universal aren't going to go talk about this, Baby gets to go take a victory lap and say, oh yeah, Wayne asked for 50, I gave him 100. You didn't give him $100 million.
And you never would.
You
gave him another kiss on the mouth.
That's not the business model. And I love Birdman and Slim as business people, but the facts of the situation are what they are.
Right.
Wayne was sacrificed because they were looking toward the future. These two got a 20-year trajectory. You already 15 years in.
Right.
I can't pay you and pay them.
Yeah. Somebody gonna suffer.
It defies all logic. Somebody got to suffer.
Right.
But I'm a label owner. You own 49%. Guess who owns the other 51? This guy who's got 2 thumbs and owns your label. This guy who controls all of the masters, publishing, mechanical royalties, sync, and every other payment that you ever will get in your life.
Yep.
This guy.
Right.
Because Universal implored me to do so. I have a distro deal. They don't have shit to do with how you get paid.
That's it.
They're authorized to collect money on our behalf.
That's it.
And you know where all that money goes? Back to us.
That's how it goes.
And the money counter goes.
Yeah, all day, every day. But my whole thing with it is, I think that people are going to see, my daddy would say, it all come out in the wash, or it's going to come out in the
That's
rinse.
a fact.
And I think that there's some things that are going to come out that are going to shock absolutely everybody. And I'm not saying anything more than that.
Yeah.
Allegedly on a different earth, not this one, because this one's great. Nothing to see here.
To the Jaguar, I guess probably my last point about Jaguar Wright is this. Has nobody learned anything from Tasha K and Cardi B?
No.
Has nobody learned anything from Johnny Depp and Amber Heard?
No.
Has nobody learned anything from Alex Jones and his $1 billion judgment to where they're telling him, sell the fucking podcast equipment, wrap it up, buddy. We got to collect this bread. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, as great as she did, because she was amazing. As great as she did, that one part could have upended this whole
thing.
Because it could have been a different thing. It could have been a financial demand or just a legal brief. It could have just been a filing for slander and libel, because we already have all of these different examples modern day of how loose we've gotten with what defamation looks like.
Yeah. Because anything can be defamation.
Anything can be defamation now.
Yep.
Whereas before, the journalistic standard was way up here. Mm-hmm. So you want to slander or libel somebody? Oh man, it has to be a concentrated pattern of behavior over time, and you've taken certain steps. Now you can just hit somebody with
tweet.
Off the gun bus.
Oh yeah.
Such as got herpes. Defamation.
Defamation. Real rap immediately. Because that's where we are, and that's the thing. But guess what? When the mountain of evidence starts, when that snowball of evidence starts running down that hill, and it picks up steam and trajectory, then guess what? Avalanche.
Yeah.
And you gonna see, and it ain't gonna be what everybody think it's gonna be.
Yeah.
It's gonna be bad.
No, I think it's gonna get way worse before it gets better. I think that this whole Puffy situation is hip hop's reckoning, in the same way that Weinstein became the face of the Me Too movement for Hollywood. Mm-hmm. He's going to become the face of the Me Too movement for hip hop music, and the blowback from that is going to be way more young executives that would have been able to get in a position of power aren't going to be able to, because they're going to say, if it ends up being 11 motherfuckers that look like Puffy, that was all on the same shit, and all have a criminal element to what they're doing, and they all get reeled up, wrapped up in this shit, they're going to say, oh, well, we can't empower any more black executives because the last regime, we gave y'all some power. This is what you niggas did.
Can I say something to you? And this, to me, is probably the most important thing I'll say tonight, in my personal opinion. You might not agree. The one thing that I love about my opinion is that I can have it unfettered. Because who you gonna call?
Right.
You can probably go after my YouTube channel. Okay, I'm all right. I got a list of thousands of people, right? Yeah. You can try and go after my business, but I'll just start another one. I'm unbought and unbossed. Yeah. The problem is, when you go working for these devils, at some point they're going to take your soul. Yeah. And that's the problem. When you look at David Banner. David Banner ain't beholden to nobody. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? He's completely independent. And that's a hard thing to do. A lot of people aren't willing to do that. Dame Dash is like, we got to put up our own money. We got to put up our own money. And Jay was like, no, we should just use their money. There's a difference between, Dame calls it a boss mentality. I don't agree with that, because I fire bosses all the time. I don't call it CEO because I fire CEOs all the time. Yeah. I own things.
I think a big misnomer in the black community, at least, is that like the CEO, the owner, the founder, the chairperson, all of that they're interchangeable. And it's like, no.
Those
CEOs get hired and fired every day.
Right. They're the chief executive officer of a board of directors. So unless you got a board of directors, you're not really a CEO. Right. But it sounds cool to say and it's easy to spell. The thing that I need people to understand is, if you are self-sufficient, then you need to get with other self-sufficient people. Yeah. And those self-sufficient people, and you can start your own thing. But what do you need distribution from these palm-colored people in 2025?
You don't.
This your distribution, numbnuts. Smarten up, Buttercup.
Yeah, it's a freedom box. But that involves actual work, though. And that's the thing. A lot of people are trying to cheat the work.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a whole episode in itself. Whereas like people are still auditioning for and taking labeled deals where the financial constraint is so significant and so cumbersome that essentially they own your name, image, likeness, and all your intellectual property for a minimum of 35 years. Yeah. And if you don't apply for the ownership to revert back to you in year 28 if it's a 30-year term, or year 33 if it's a 35-year term, you don't get it.
No.
Oh yeah, no, it just keeps going. Yeah. So with that in mind, it's like, our people in generally speaking here, are so thirsty for the upfront money that when somebody like Young Dolph, may he rest in peace, says, I got offered a deal for $22 million and I turned it down because they wanted to own my name, image, likeness, and my back catalog. Right. When I thought to myself, that's a great amount of money. I could go leverage that and do da-da-da-da-da-da-da. But if I just stay down and focus and I put a certain amount of projects out and I hit the road, I can make that $22 million in a year and a half. What the fuck do I need their money for?
Everybody ain't got that in
Everybody doesn't have that get up and go. That's going to be like, what do I like? I can actualize this offer. Right. And if they're offering me this, I'm worth probably 44.
Absolutely.
So why should I take 22 when I'm worth 44? I just go out here and just go earn the money.
I had a client who calls me one day and he says, listen, bro, this particular corporate overlord has offered me $1 million for my website. I said, don't take it. He says, oh, man. Let me not. He says, oh, man, why in the world would I not take it? It's $1 million for a website. Like, it's the website. I don't care. Because if they're offering you $1 million for it, they're probably going to make 20 a year off of it.
The numbers just came out about Instagram. Sold it for $1 billion. Mm-hmm. Right now they make $70 billion a year off of it.
Yes.
So it's like, you lost.
You lost. But see, people, the short-sightedness is the problem. And then the thing of it is, people are like, well, Dave, you always talk about entrepreneur. No. Stay in your cubicle. Stay in the rivers and the lakes that you used to. I want you there because this is not fun. I don't give a damn how many silk pajamas and stripper guns they put in your face. I don't care how many huge big checks, because we see how well that turned out.
Yeah.
They give you. I don't care how many moon and star crowns they put up and how many times they sit there acting like they're cosplaying as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. This is hard. This sucks sometimes, but it's worth it because I am free to do what I want when I want. Do you know what I did this afternoon? You know what I did this afternoon because I called you.
Yeah.
What I tell you I was doing?
Running errands and taking calls and up and down 95. You all over the place.
Yeah, but the main thing was I literally had picked up my daughter and we went to the park.
Yeah.
And all she wanted to do was be there and let her daddy push her on the swing. I can do that in the middle of the afternoon. Yeah. To me, that's worth it. Yeah. That's why I've turned down 28 jobs coming back in the media, because what I need you for. Right. You can't afford me anymore. Yeah. You had me, you fumbled me, now I'm free, now I'm a problem. So my whole thing is, if you don't want to do that, that's cool. But if you want freedom and you're willing to sacrifice and not step over dollars to pick up pennies, you could have so much more, but we keep trying to act like they're the only ones who can give it, like they bestow greatness on us. We made all of this. Yeah. We control all. We are the tastemakers who do not get to eat our own cooking. I don't understand it unless it comes from the greens in the tub, which I'm not going to eat. So yeah, man, that's where I am with it.
Yeah. I think that's a great way to put a pin in another phenomenal conversation, man. I say it every time I see you. You're my favorite guest. It's why we do this so often. And I'm pretty sure, might be emergency episode on November 6th, depending
I will be here.
Depending upon, what happens and all of that. But, tell everybody what you got. You got some phenomenal stuff coming up. I know some you can announce, some you can't announce. Tell everybody what you got coming up, man, what you're working on, and most importantly, where they can find you on social media, where you be getting on everybody's nerves.
Yeah, no, the thing I really want to announce, I can't announce. I really do. But I promise you, I'm gonna just go like this. But
it's major.
It's huge.
It's major. Yeah.
It's big. It's huge. They're eating the dogs. No. So a couple of things.
Biggest ever.
It's gonna be big. It's gonna be big. It's gonna be wonderful. It's gonna be bigger than Dan shirt. It's gonna be huge. The thing that I'm really excited about, I just finished co-authoring a book with Master P, which I'm extremely excited about. It's called Mastering Wealth, Volume 1, Power. And in my chapter, I talk about the power of domination. See, we're so busy trying to get on it, we don't want to dominate everything. I'm coming for all of it. I literally had a homeboy tell me yesterday, because I told him what my plans were. And up until yesterday, my plan was, I'm going to buy this company that shut me out. The same way Bobby Brown showed up on the tour when the people kicked him out. Yeah. I'm just going to buy this company so I can fire these people. And he said, no. Don't do that, bro. I'm going to save you $500 million. I said, well, what am I going to do? He said, just buy all the ads out and make them say your name every single day. He said, then you can write the whole thing off. I said, we're doing that. Yeah. I was like, thank you. The thing of it is, you have to be willing to dominate absolutely every aspect of the industry. Everything that you want to do. You don't want to just be in the game. You want to own the game. Yes, and that's the thing that I love about P. He gives you so much insight and he gives you so much thought process that you change the way you see things, because he sees things on a multi-dimensional level, and he's been in rooms I haven't been in. Yeah. So when somebody of that ilk, like, when he talk, I shut up. I say, P, what about this, that, and third? And he'd be like, well, this, and then that, and then this, and then that, and this is why they do this, and this is why we're doing it this way. It may look like this, but it's that. And I'm just sitting there like, I'm just taking copious notes. to get this book, it's going to, I'm not overhyping it to tell you it's going to change your life. I promise you it will, right? If you haven't gotten Master P's 5 P's to Wealth, that's a book you need to read immediately. It's up there with 48 Laws of Power. It's up there with the Capitalist Manifesto. It's up there with Rich Dad, Poor Dad. You need to read this book because you will understand Master P on a completely different level. 2, I am shuttering my high ticket business coaching business. The only way to get me now is on Patreon because I'm touring. I'm doing too many speaking engagements. I'm writing too many books. Master P got me all over the place. It's taking on a life of its
we're
own.
literally here at 11 o'clock at night recording because he's about to go back on tour, and I'm like, we gotta get this in before you go.
Yeah, so like I am blessed. It is just the biggest thing that you could ever do. It's not even about validation. It's about your work speaks for you. The Bible says a man's gift makes room for him and brings him before great men. So if you want to catch up with me, we got a Patreon. It's absolutely phenomenal. I ain't got nothing over $500 on this Patreon, right? Lowest ticket is my book club, and the books I read 2 books a day. So my book list automatically goes like $20. So I mean, you can get in where you fit in. If you want to upgrade, you can. But my main thing is just watch what we're doing. You can follow me on all social media platforms at The Business Bully. I'm super honored that you give me this platform because I just feel like I'm giving you the ramblings of an old man. I feel like Dick Gregory's so happy that I'm doing this. But,
What's the Patreon?
No, the Patreon is The Business Bully. Everything for me is The Business Bully, with the exception of Twitter, because damn you, Elon, it's DA Business Bully, but everything is The Business Bully. You can find me on Patreon.
DA Business Bully is so against everything that you stand for.
Dave Anderson.
Oh, Dave Anderson. But the average person is going to read it and be like,
District Attorney?
No, duh. No, like,
duh.
Like hip hop.
I know.
Duh, Business Bully, motherfucker.
No. Dave Anderson. I didn't think, I was like, what do I do? What do I do? Because somebody had taken Business Bully, even though I own the trademark. Yeah. Right? But they had taken it. I can't get it from whatever the case may be.
Those early adopters went in on Twitter and they just go to all the social media, just take anything that they think is going to be worth something. They just take it.
They just take
Somebody has at TRPE on Instagram, and it's like they got like some potato greens or something on the page. It's like nothing.
Were they washing the tub?
I don't know. They was like, it's like in Vietnam or something. I'm just like, what does this mean?
What are you doing?
What are you doing with this?
I'm in the shower real quick.
Listen, I guarantee you there's somebody on OnlyFans washing greens in the tub while they're making foot videos. But I just really want you guys to pay attention to what I'm doing because I'm trying to show you that it's possible. We're going to Atlanta. I'm going to be speaking with P, Jamal Harrison Bryant, Dr. George C. Fraser at New Birth. So pray for me, y'all, because as long as I don't blow up, I'll be fine. But no, to me, I'm doing what makes me really, really happy at this stage in my life.
Yes,
because
man.
I'm done trying to convince people who just want to dip their toe into entrepreneurship. I want to work with people who are literally doing this. But thankfully, speaking engagements, the stuff I've got going on with the Patreon, stuff I got going on with Master P, and then the stuff that I can announce. But
when you see it, it's so dope. When you see it, I'm gonna look like a genius for having him on here 3 times.
I don't even understand.
It's really that.
When I got the message, I looked at it for 20 minutes like, is this? And I'm like, and then it said, you have been following this person for this minute. I was like,
yeah, it's real.
I know I said when I lost 312 pounds that it was over for you bitches. No, when you see it, I humbly stated it's over for you bitches because now I'm not crazy anymore. I'm like, people who don't know me are looking at it and like, yeah, no, this is it. Because you can't keep putting bullshit out because bullshit rises just like cream and expect people to keep drinking the bullshit.
Yes, indeed.
Sooner or later, the cream gonna get its shot. So I'm grateful. I'm thankful. Also, real quick, shout out to the actress Brayley Evans. I'm doing some really cool stuff with her because she has a cohort for business, and so I'm doing a lot of consulting things of that nature. So that's dope. And then also, I'm a managing partner for a company called The Vault, which is run by Dr. Casey Fox. I showed you Dr. Fox. So just keep up with me at The Business Bully. I hope all is well in your world. If you got a business question, I will answer it. And if you're trying to hit me with a random spoons idea, I'm gonna cuss you out. But other than that, I'm so happy and humble to be here, man. So hopefully I did a good job for y'all. And this interview is going to do at least 600 views. It's going to be very, very poor. Meager. Until when the thing hit and then y'all going, okay.
Then again, I'm gonna look like a genius because now all of the back catalog, everything we did is gonna go up because now it's like you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, I was right. You know what I'm saying? I have a little bit of Kanye in me, where it's like sometimes in the real time I look like a crazy person.
Yeah.
But then once it all happens and it all develops, it's like, you know, just like me saying Chris Brown will wash Usher in a verses. I'm starting to look more and more like I got some sense.
It's not even a contest. It's like the Marlon Jackson singing rock with you. Have you seen that?
Yes.
Why? Why? Who told you could sing that?
Yeah, don't do that.
Don't do this. Joe didn't whip him the same way he whipped Michael and Janet. He gave him some different type of whippings. He need them Umar lashes. You need 60,000 lashes, Marlon Jackson.
Oh, one final thought. Yeah. Candace Owens right now is running an expose on our Vice President, Kamala Harris. And her exact words were, this all started with Janet saying, hey, I heard you're not black. You know what I'm saying? Which I say this for the end because I didn't want to mix it up and, you know, create any incongruencies with the message that we started with. Sure. But she said, hey, man, they asked her about Kamala Harris. She was on this really, you know, far left platform. And they asked her, they said, hey, how you feel about her? She said, hey, man, I heard she ain't black. Like, it wasn't, that was it. That was the statement.
Right.
And somebody that worked for her team, which was like an assistant of an assistant, came out, tried to apologize. Janet Jackson said, not only do I not apologize, nigga, your ass is fired. Because can't nobody speak for me except Randy, my brother. So y'all need to stop playing games with me. And Candace Owens' exact words were, they came for Janet and they got me.
Yeah, I answered the door.
I said, yo, she a bad motherfucker. She said they came for Janet and they got me.
You do not come for Janet Demeter Joe Jackson. You just don't do it.
And I saw the way that the media complex made Michael look like a crazy person.
Yes.
Even though he was innocent.
Yes.
Made him look like a pedo, even though he was innocent.
Yes.
And he loved children and he helped children and he helped these families.
Yes.
And they made him into wacko jacko, and I'm not going to let them put this family through that again. So I'm going to use the entire breadth of my platform, all of my researchers, and the rest of 2024 to getting to the bottom of who this woman is.
Yes.
And she has been relentless.
It's so beautiful.
One, what do you think about Candace Owens, just generally speaking? And two, are you keeping up with this expose?
First of all, I think Candace Owens is necessary. I think you need, like, who's your favorite superhero?
Wolverine.
Wolverine. Cool. Is Wolverine that magnetic without Magneto pulling the adamantium off of his bones?
No, absolutely not.
You need a foil. You need a bad guy. Hulk Hogan needed the Iron Sheik.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Cody Rhodes needs Roman Reigns. First of all, we're going to acknowledge our tribal chief. But the thing of it is, Candace Owens is necessary. And she is necessary because it makes you examine things. And the real M. Night Shyamalan reveal is that she cared more about black people than a lot of these so-called people y'all propping up.
Tell it.
Because the truth of the matter is, you ain't got to like what she says. But is she lying? And if she's lying, why ain't they suing her? And then the other part of that is, do we protect black women, or do we just protect the black women whose voices we line up with?
Yes, sir. This nigga spitting.
So my whole thing with Candace Owens, and I will say this to anybody, right? I don't do this thing where if I don't like what you have to say, I'm going to try and shut you down. I'm going to die for your right to say that, because that's what the First Amendment says.
Right.
And when it comes to a black woman, whether I agree with her, I don't care. Because if you got a problem with Candace Owens' white husband, why ain't you got a problem with Kamala's white husband? What's the difference? Oh, okay, cool. So this whole expose thing, the fact that they have these people who, like, Grandma Barrel died in 1960, but
she
Kamala
in the book.
was born in
She's a picture in the book.
And in the 80s, Kamala got the bamboo earrings and whatnot because she was cosplaying at Howard, allegedly.
They found her uncle. They talked to her.
Yo, like, sometimes you need to leave people alone, because when that happens, they're going to come for you. So I'm of that ilk.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas though I'm cool. Like when people are like, well, why'd you come after this? Well, if I'm a horror movie character, I'm not Jason. I'm not Michael Myers. I'm Candyman.
Yeah.
I'm cool until you multiple times put my name in your mouth. Then you're going to be my victim. This is what Candace Owens is doing. And you know what? None of y'all are doing that. You know, when she was talking about all the stuff that Kanye was saying, and y'all said, oh, well, you know, she wrong and she crazy and boppity bop. Well, guess what? She don't seem to be that wrong now.
No, not at all.
And that's the thing. I think she's necessary because you need people. The most important part of the washing machine is the agitator. And Candace is agitating absolutely everybody. And I can't wait to see. I didn't watch today, but I'm about to go home and watch.
Fresh off vacation. She's like, I just got back from Tokyo. I was with Kanye. He's in good spirits. Tokyo has calmed him down. It's very good for him. We back.
Bad news for Kamala. I'm off vacation. I was like, but no.
Yeah, Candace Owens is an absolute force. She's so smart that it's scary. Mm-hmm. And when you are so smart that it's scary, you scare people. Like she scares me in a good way of like, you know, of what we can be. Yeah. Like I would
unburdened by what has been.
Yeah. I would much rather tell my daughter to aspire to be a Candace Owens than a lot of the other archetypes of what we see in media that are currently propped up and all of that, because she's a woman that values family, faith, religion, and she stands on business at any given point, and she can articulate herself with the best of them.
Yeah, no, I think it's necessary, and I think intelligence needs to make a comeback, and I think we should hold her up. By the way, sorry, this is the last thing.
No, I'm not. Hey, man.
Black America. I'm going to take a page from D.L. Hughley's book. If you're going to be loud in your accusations, you need to be loud in your apology.
Yes, indeed.
So I would like to take this time to personally apologize to Tavis Smiley. Tavis Smiley. Again, I say, Tavis Smiley, I'm sorry. Years ago when I was younger, I thought you were hating on Barack. But you and Dr. Cornel West were right. And I think people are starting to see that you were right, and I'm sorry for the way that I talked about you. I'm sorry for the way that Black America treated you, because you said something against Barack when you've been working for decades on our behalf. You know, you bought, like, if it wasn't for you, I would not have had a relationship with the late, great Dr. Julia Hare. So I just wanted to let you know, Tavis, you were right. God bless you. And keep fighting that fight, because this BS where this man just sat up here and chastised Black America, you were saying he wasn't no good, and Dr. Cornel West said just because you are color don't make you our kind.
All skin folk ain't kinfolk.
And how right you were. So I just wanted to make sure that I said that, because Tavis went in on Barack today, and I got my life. So that's it. I'm good, man. I hope this does, very mediocre numbers for you.
Nice 374 views.
Listen, one can only aspire. 374.
374
First of all, the last interview doubled in the past week and a half.
Yeah,
so,
I don't know why. I talked to him. I say, yo, man, I'm looking at these numbers. These joints went up. He like, really? I'm like, yeah, I don't know what happened.
Yo, y'all be with me on the clips. Y'all be murdering me on the clips. But listen, the clips. The clips is. Y'all still defending Bruno Mars.
Listen, right? I had no idea, man, that we love Bruno Mars so much.
When I taught at Temple, because I'm still on a sabbatical, when I taught at Temple, I told my entire class that Bruno Mars wasn't black, and they were shocked. People are like, we didn't do, well, nobody thought of it. Yes, y'all did. You still do. And he's still there cosplaying like a 90s soul singer, and y'all are cool with it. But okay, no, I mean, again, talented guy, but two things to be true.
And I think that's the biggest thing of people arguing in the comments or missing.
Yeah.
We're not disputing his talent.
Oh no, he's a genius.
We're talking about him being a conduit for the, appropriation of black music, and who has the complexion for the protection, and how these big multinational corporations use people as Trojan horses to sell shit that they won't even let black artists sell.
Because
that's the issue.
He was singing with a daggone straw hat like he was doing One Piece, and then all of a sudden he went on tour with Janelle Monáe, and he started being all doo-wops and hooligans and got himself a comp. And then when that didn't work, he started playing like he was Ike Turner. Like, I'm just trying to, like, which Bruno is it? Like, he need to, Michael Jackson had them action figures. We need the Bruno Mars line of action figures to see which Negro he gonna be today.
We need to pitch that. We need to put together a deck and send it to Atlantic Records, see if we can pitch that.
Listen, we can get them on Revolt.
This information is proprietary and shall not be distributed or shared by anybody
without the express written permission. But no, man, I'm super happy to be here, and I'm thankful that you guys let me come run my mouth.
It's a pleasure every time you come back, man. We have these real honest conversations. Some people get it, some people don't. Mm-hmm. But most importantly, we're waking a lot of people up. A lot of people in the last 5-6 months have really done an about face when it comes to economic outlook, political beliefs, all of that stuff. And people are taking the time to do their research. Like when you tell motherfucker, Google me, do your research. They're actually Googling and doing their research now, which is, all we can ask. So people are forming their own opinions, unfettered by all of the nonsense going on in the mainstream media. On both sides.
My God.
Heavily on both sides.
Yes.
So with that being said, Chad, DA, Big Dan, we are out of this joint.
Out.